week. You might have even been playing on Friday night. How can you even contemplate that?
Look, I was just hoping it was a burst blood vessel or something like that. I was pretty optimistic, but I had the scans done when I got back on Sunday from Brisbane, and it was a fracture there, so had to have surgery on Monday, and that's just, you just got to deal with it.
How did it happen?
Look, I'm not exactly sure. It was early in the third quarter, and I just looked down and I sort of felt a little knock and looked down and my hand had sort of blown up. So, I just went off and said to the physio, you might want to have a look at this after the game, but I'm going back out there.
He makes them mad.
See, how tough are they? They break their hand, they don't even know it.
What about Lenny Hayes, who's just broken his nose 2 weeks in a row? No, it's no big deal.
That's the difference between you, Whitey, and Boydie. You think about it, and Boydie doesn't think about it.
Possibly. Definitely.
Matthew, I want to hit on your career because I think it's a great example of perseverance, and I know you've probably been over it a lot of times, but you took a while to get to where you wanted to go. Yep. Why was that? And at what point did you actually think you could get to where you wanted to be and where you are?
It probably took a while because early on I wasn't probably good enough, and that's probably fact. And I was lucky enough to get the opportunity through Scott Clayton. Got me down to the club, and when I was there, I just wanted to work as hard as I could to see what I was capable of doing, and whether or not I was good enough. I didn't want to leave anything in the tank. So, a bit of luck got me down to the Bulldogs, I'd say.
Yeah, and who saw you? Because you're at Frankston.
Yeah, I was at Frankston. I did a bit of training with the Dogs after my Stingrays year in 2000. So they sort of had their eye on me, and I think Chris Bond kept his eye on me throughout. I was playing Frankston reserves, and he sort of kept his eye a little bit on me and see how I was going, and thought I might have been a bit stiff not to be playing in the VFL seniors. So, it's just lucky that you got guys like that who are willing to watch a fair bit of footy and take a punt.
How did Bondy know about you?
I'm not 100% sure. Scotty Clayton, who was a recruiting manager at the time, had an affiliation with my manager. They might have just my manager might have just gave him a Jared Cholly at the time, and might have just given him a call and said, he's going right, can you come and have a look at him? And I suppose you just got to take the luck when it comes your way.
What are your great strengths? What did you think you had that's enabled you to achieve what you have?
Oh, look, I think my endurance is pretty good. Work pretty hard on that, and can run a fair bit all day, hopefully, and that's what you work for. But I think I've got good hands in tight and vision. I think that comes from playing a bit of basketball as a kid. So they were the things I really tried to work on and make real strengths in my game.
I don't want to hog it. I'll ask one more question. What's the advice about AFL football? What's the one thing players just have to get right, otherwise they're not going to survive at this level?
Yeah, it's a tough one. There's more than one thing, I suppose, but I think it's your preparation. I mean, it all comes down to it. The best players in the comp, and Chris Grant was, not to pump him up too much, but he was the best in his time that I've seen. So, in terms of preparation, getting his body right and doing everything you can, and that, whether that's watching a bit of extra vision or on your opponent, or doing an extra run or an extra boxing session, or just anything you can to get your body right to play. And because it's a tough game, and everyone understands how tough it is, but if you're not right 100%, then you're going to struggle.
Boydie, with the draft, and we've spoken about it over the course of the start of this year, players like yourself are going to get hopefully more opportunities coming through the system, aren't they? The Greater Western Sydney and the Gold Coast coming in, the compromised draft over the next 2 years. So mature age rookies like yourself. I mean, James Podge-Adelaide is an extraordinary story at 28, but you're an encouraging story for them. What do you say to those players out there that are potentially going to miss those drafts this year? What's the one thing you would say to them to hang their hat on, to say, okay, I've got the talent, what do I now need to do to turn myself into the front of recruiters in the next 12 months?
Yeah, I think it's it's all about getting your opportunity, I suppose, and once you get that opportunity, make the most of it. But you have to use your resources, I think, and if you're at a VFL club or a SANFL club or one of those clubs, there's people out there who are willing to help you, and I think you need to need to talk to those people and ask what I need to improve on, what are my strengths, what can I work on to make it even better, a better part of my game. So, yeah, I think just using your resources and making the most of your opportunities. And, you know, Barlow from Fremantle is another example of that. And these guys who are playing in the men's divisions at the moment, the VFL and the Waffle and those sort of things, they're going to get a chance because, you know, all the kids are gone now. So there's going to be a few older guys who get their chance.
And leadership-wise, one final one from me. Leadership-wise, the club, since my time, has changed the leadership in the way they go about things in an enormous way. What's your role in that? Because it encapsulates the whole team, but what specifically do you bring to that leadership group?
I think I'll bring a bit of honesty to the group, and you know, I'm more than happy to have an opinion and let that opinion be known. Some people might not like it, and you know, a lot of people don't like it. But if I think that it needs to be said, then I'm happy to say it. But I think it's all about you know, trying to bring the young kids into it and make them feel a part of it as well, because you know, it's a daunting experience coming into a footy club with a whole bunch of older guys around, and those young guys can sort of be a bit shy and fall away and just go into the corner, but they need to be out there and have their say as well. So I think we all need to encourage that.
You were talking before about how you didn't get drafted initially. I'm interested in your mindset, because I've been to a number of draft camps where all the kids, they just desperately want to play AFL footy. They all think they're going to get drafted. When you don't get drafted and you go back and you might have gone back home and start thinking about things, do you get driven and almost get angry to prove people wrong? Was there a time where you sort of got really upset and felt my dream is over? I mean, how did you come back and bounce back from that?
Yeah, look, I wasn't overly confident I was going to get drafted after Stingrays year in 2000. You know, I was pretty realistic. I didn't think I sort of had what it took at that stage, but I was willing to keep on giving it a crack. But I suppose my biggest disappointment, and the thing that I was probably most disheartened about the next year, was down at Frankston playing in the VFL reserves for the whole year pretty much. I played one senior game and I was in, and then I was out straight away. So that probably disheartened me the most, and I thought, you know, this is the end here. I'm not going to get picked up from the VFL reserve. So that was the thing that I really thought about the most. But I suppose just having people around you, and not so much pump your tyres up, but just give you the confidence to say, all right, well, these are the things you're doing well, and if you keep doing them, then you're a chance.
So is that what changes? It's not necessarily you have a breakout game at VFL level and you think, gee, I reckon I can play at AFL level. It might be someone who you respect saying to you, Matthew, if you just do this, this and this, you've actually got it in you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think even getting down to the Bulldogs and being on the rookie list, you know, you feel like you're so far away from playing senior footy that it's just a pipe dream. You've got no chance. But Alan Richardson, who's now at Essendon now, Chris Bond, those two guys were instrumental, and they kept on just saying, you know, you've got to work on these things, you've got to do these things right, and more than willing to help you out in any way, and you know, knocking on their door at all hours of trying to improve your game. And they were the first ones to really give you the time and the chance to improve your skills. So just having those people around you and being able to use those resources to make yourself a better player, it's pretty important.
It's an important story, and I think it's one we'll see more and more of. Just before you leave us and take up a vantage point, what's your diagnosis of the Bulldogs through the first 4 weeks of regulation footy?
The diagnosis, I suppose, is that we haven't played our best footy in any game so far. I think we've probably had patches here and there. Against Brisbane last week, I thought we were lucky to be up by what we were up at half time. We weren't playing well. I think we were playing pretty poorly, actually, and we were probably lucky to be up. And even against Hawthorn, we had a decent third quarter, but we just couldn't kick straight. So I think if we get our intensity and our intent to tackle that we had in the NAB Cup, and I think we had that for 4 weeks, then we're just going to improve throughout the year.
And these stretch of Friday night games, are they seen as sort of premium by the club to put your wares on display?
Yeah, I think so. And all the players love playing on a Friday night. It's the prime slot for the weekend. So, the guys get pretty amped up to play, and I'm spewing. I'm not out there with them.
You'll be there next week?
Yeah, fingers crossed I'm there next week.
We'll be here to watch you. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, guys.
Matthew Boyd from the Western Bulldogs, who misses his first game since round 16, 2005, joining us in the pre-match. The Crows, the first to emerge as we settle in for Friday night footy here on Grandstand AFL. The Crows are 0-4 and simply must win if anything is to come from this season. They'll front up to the Western Bulldogs.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Holmes from ABC TV's Media Watch, and now I'm also writing for The Drum, a new ABC website featuring thoughtful and thought-provoking analysis from a range of ABC journalists. At The Drum, I'll be banging on about media mostly, but other soloists will be doing riffs on just about everything under the sun. Check out what's making the loudest noise at abc.net.au/The Drum. Expert analysis and opinion from those external commentators. abc.net.au/The Drum.
This is Friday Night Football on ABC Local Radio.
The question of season 2010 thus far is what has happened to the Adelaide Crows, and is it salvageable? It won't be if they don't walk away with a win tonight. They must register their first of the season, and it's a lofty task. The Crows front up to the Western Bulldogs, who haven't played their best but believe they're capable of challenging for the premiership this season. Friday night footy's under the closed roof at Docklands. It's raining outside as we enter this long weekend. It's the Bullies and the Crows. Gerard Whateley and Adam White to call it for you. Chris Grant, our Bulldogs expert, in tonight to join Peter Schwab. Gents, take a swing at these two clubs and then give us a view of what might take place.
Well, maybe I'll go with Adelaide. Not that I've seen a lot of them, Chris. I've really only seen them on TV. Just some really interesting goal kicking, because I asked Kelly, actually, Kelly Underwood, before we came in, I said, why aren't the Crows winning? I mean, there's a lot of reasons. She goes, they can't find avenues to goal. And when you look at it, Tippett, who's been a really exciting player, particularly last year, is obviously struggling. He's kicked 1 goal 8. Now, maybe if he kicked 8-1, I don't know where he's had his shots from or anything like that. So maybe the 1-8 is reflective of his opportunities, but I doubt it.
He missed some easy ones last week.
But it's hard to find players you'd normally think might contribute. Paul Pleasure hasn't kicked a goal. That's astounding. And you've got Burton's kicked 5-5, probably a reasonable return. Dangerfield, I think, is a gun, and I think he's one of the shining lights for Adelaide. Geelong boy, 6 goals 5. Thompson's kicked 4-3. There's just no real dynamic avenues to goal. Can they conjure up a forward line? I was sort of thinking, well, who's up there? And you look at it and you've got Tippett, Burton, Knights. See, Knights in the past been a goal kicker. Petrenko could, Pleasure, Dangerfield. So they're the sort of players, and then maybe, although historically, occasionally they'll contribute, McLeod, maybe Goodwin, Edwards, but they're more midfield type players who can occasionally come down and kick goals. So I think if they've got some real problems kicking goals, they need Tippett, Burton, Pleasure, Petrenko, Knights to sort of stand up for them tonight. I'm a bit worried down back, and again, I haven't seen much of Davis or Schmidt, and don't know what form Rutten's in. But that back line to me just looks a bit shaky also. But there's a nice depth to their midfield. But obviously Griffin's out of form because they've dropped him. They're going with Marriage. I'm not sure who the other ruckman is. But then you've got Thompson, Dangerfield, Cook, McLeod, Vince, Dougherty, Goodwin, Edwards, Van Berlo, Douglas. That's a pretty good depth of runners. So there is some talent in the Adelaide side. They just haven't disappeared overnight. They've just got to win tonight. They have to win tonight. I don't think they will, so they'll be zip 5. You've got no hope of making the 8 from zip 5. And you're in real danger then of the whole thing disintegrating to a point where you might have a season where you get a couple of run-ons, but you're looking at a season where you might only win 6 games, which is unbelievable what we thought at the start of the year for this side. So that's my take on Adelaide, and I'm really looking forward to the game from the viewpoint of them, not so much the Bulldogs.
Yeah, well, look, I can't see Adelaide just getting in the form to beat a Bulldogs team that traditionally play Etihad Stadium really well. I don't think we should underestimate the fact that a guy like a Brad Johnson and Ackermanis coming back into that forward line. I mean, there's 650 plus games of football straight into the forward line, and I just think that in itself, without having those two guys there really together, other than the Collingwood game, Jono's first game for the year, no games for the pre-season, I think he would have been better for that. The Dogs have two areas of their game that no doubt that has stood out as being poor in the two games that they've lost. Against Collingwood, their run and carry was poor. They didn't have many running bounces, which is down for them. They do like to bounce the ball, and if they don't bounce the ball, they move the ball very quickly, and Collingwood really stymied that. The other area of concern would be the fact that those two losses have been against, yes, potentially top four teams, but it's the amount of scoring shots that they've had. So the Dogs have probably come out of a pre-season competition mentally, not that they haven't spoken about it, but mentally going in with a mind frame of we do what we want to do.
Were they a bit happy with themselves?
Well, I don't know. I know
that's a cliche, but did they think this was just going to roll on?
No, I don't think that's the case. But I think what can happen is that a team, when they've been able to do what they want to do over the course of a pre-season against teams who are not necessarily full strength, that can sometimes mean that you focus on the things that end up being really good for you. The run and carry during the pre-season cup was extraordinary. So they carried on with that vein, and they didn't probably address, perhaps, defensively. And those two games that they've lost because the opposition have had far too many scoring opportunities and far too many inside 50s. So that's the area of the game, maybe even more than the scoring opportunities. I'd really like to see them stop the opposition getting it inside 50 so often.
Sorry to cut you off. Can I ask you about two players?
Yep.
One's Hill. He does kick goals, but he seems to be on the end of being dropped whenever it's slightly panic stations. He seems to be the one that Rocket won't tolerate. Is there a reason for that?
He missed the finals last year. He was dropped played all of the games last year and missed the finals when push came to shove.
Why?
There's no... Look, the area of his game that's a strength, it's his ability to be able to attract the footy in the air. He's only slightly built, but he marks very, very well over his head. And being incredibly agile, he's able to beat the little guys around or at least equal them when the ball's on the ground too. Obviously, particularly with slider type players, the defensive side of his game isn't strong. When Josh Hill plays well, normally goals have come from the way he defends.
Okay.
And the area that they haven't been overly happy with him over the course of this year is that he's been looking to get more of the offensive stuff than the defensive stuff. And that'll be pushed with him probably, it'll be a career thing. When he plays well, the thing that gets him in the games is his defence. And that's been down the last 4 weeks.
The other guy I was going to ask you is your namesake, who I've seen a little bit of, Jared Grant. Is he what do you think?
Look, he's got a future. Yeah. He's certainly got a future. He's the quickest or second quickest over 40 metres. So that's good. That's good as a forward because you can be quick over 20, but as a forward sometimes you need to be quicker over a longer distance than that. So he's got the ability to be able to get across the ground well. They've actually been pushing him.
Where would he play?
Look, he'll play forward pocket, but probably pushing up the ground a little bit. What they've asked him to do over the course of the last 3 or 4 weeks, Peter German's a Williamstown coach, and they identify when he's in and around the ball, that's when he plays well. So put him in a forward pocket and leave him down the forward pocket. He's just starved of too many opportunities. A good thinker of the game.
Yep.
He does tend to get into the right spots. Probably the area of his game that isn't great at the moment would be his overall endurance. So I'd expect him to be coming off the ground a lot, but expect him to push up high up the ground.
That might relate because there's a lot of guys who are quick who, genetically don't have the maximum oxygen uptake and have that endurance base.
And that's the one for him. He just needs to maximise every opportunity he's got. But I'm looking forward to it, Shobby. I'm looking forward to seeing the Dogs get back into some pretty good form. They're disappointed with where they're at the moment. They don't feel that they've even played well in the 2 wins that they've had for 4 quarters, as Matthew Boyd said to us. And the biggest shock of the season, other than Melbourne Storm, would have to be the Adelaide Crows. After potentially hoping to finish top 4, it's currently sitting 15th.
You know what? I never thought they'd get anywhere near top 4. I know they did. and they know themselves better than I do. But I compare them to the rest of the competition. For me, they weren't a top 4 side.
Your 4 side this season has been second to none.
Oh, I didn't say they was a bottom 4 side. I thought they were a top 8 side. But
they won't be a bottom 4 side by the end. But we couldn't be in better hands tonight. Peter Schwab and Chris Grant on Friday Night Footy. Kelly Underwood is in the front row. You saw the Crows last week. Kel, you keep close tabs on the Bulldogs. Welcome.
Yes, thanks for that, Jared. Did see the Crows last week. They were absolutely woeful. 6 goals for the entire game, 3 of them coming from 50-metre penalties. Let's hope they can kick more than that tonight. It's been a tough week for Neil Craig. He was front page news in the Adelaide Advertiser under the headline, should he be sacked this week? He dropped just the one player at selection, Taylor Walker. So starting on the bench for the Crows will be Riley, Cook, Schmidt and a debutant, Ricky Henderson. He's a rookie, a former basketballer from Ballarat. One late change for the Dogs. Hargrave is out. That neck injury has flared for him. So Moles comes in. On the bench for the Dogs will be Eagleton, Ackermanis, Moles, and a debutant for the Dogs as well, Jordan Roughhead. Let's hope it's a good game.
Reasonable crowd in to begin a long weekend of footy with much significance outside of the football Anzac Day on Sunday. The Crows are going to kick to the Coventry end to the right as we look at it in the opening term. It's impossible to think that in the last weekend of April, the Adelaide Crows are already at the point of no return. That's the reality as they face the Bulldogs on Grandstand AFL. You're with Adam White.
It'll be Marich and Hudson in ruck already. Jan Syracuse are getting stuck into Thompson from the bounce. It's Hudson getting a hand pass to Cooney, to Johnson, linking up by hand, and the Doggies are away. It comes to Jan Syracuse. Left foot kick under pressure inside 50. No mark taken by Hall. Falling to ground was Hahn. It's Johncock with the hand pass, and the Crows get out of trouble out towards defensive 50. Knights there. Also Davis. Davis gets the hand pass to Thompson. Back to Davis. Kick partially smothered. Comes to the wing. Morris slipped over. Petrenko didn't. He got the hand pass to Edwards. Back to Petrenko. Now to Knights. Lots of hand passes. Knights to McLeod. Takes a little bit of a run. Then kicks inside 50. Tippett in front. Got hands to it. Couldn't mark. Burton though at the drop. Swings the right foot. Kick towards goal. Adelaide mark to Vince.
Well, great start, but I reckon Tippett will be a bit annoyed with Burton, even though he butted up and got it down there to Vince.
You reckon Tippett had it?
He was going to take the mark, and look, you can't stop Burton because that's the way he plays.
Adelaide gets the first goal though as Vince kicks it from the square, from the set shot. And after 1 minute, the Crows 1 straight 6. The Bulldogs yet to score. We didn't get the selections.
Who'd you tip?
Bulldogs.
Bulldogs just.
We're a sweep for the Bulldogs. That was more like the Adelaide Crows, though. That was a very impressive 45 seconds.
Well, they'll be pumped. Don't worry about that. This will be a good game.
Their hands were sharp, surely, weren't they? They actually moved the ball really well, very clean.
They were clean and fast. Direct to their 2 key forwards as they'd set up with Burton and Tippett, and they had the opening goal as a result. And we might be in for something tonight. The Crows just can't go quietly into the night at this stage of the season. The 2 number 17 side by side, Cooney and the goal kicker Vince. They await the work of the ruckman and an inordinate delay, given how early in the match it is. Hudson's able to bring it down, but Edwards comes off the wing for Adelaide. He missed Vince with a hand pass and allowed Griffin in. He gave it across and he got run down. Dangerfield's on the sweep up. He gives it to Burton, fires it out. Now it comes the way of Knights from Thompson. Up toward half forward, Petrenko marks. Looks inside the 50, goes for Pleasure, sat it up a bit. Gilby was able to make the spoil, and the Dogs in the back pocket have got to pilot a way out here. Griffin receives the hand pass, gives it to Harbrow across the face of goal. It bounces before it reaches Hudson. His hands are clean though. He gives to Lake. Bad kick. It hung there and Douglas was able to cut it off. It's going to be another shot at goal for the Crows.
Disappointing by Lake. I mean, no pressure. Just had to hit the target and couldn't.
And he didn't need to make that.
No, it was a bad decision, wasn't it?
Johnson was on much earlier and much clearer.
Richard Douglas hunched down over the set shots. He'll come through half forward and deliver from basically right on the 50. Douglas launches at goal. He got a big piece of it. It's to the line. It's touched. And a conceded score. 1-1-7 Adelaide. The Bulldogs yet to score. 3 minutes played.
Only very early, but again the Bulldogs struggling out of defence, which was their problem last week. Harbrow from the kick into Gilby, who marks in the back pocket, then plays on and kicks long to the wing. Murphy jumped high and early, straight into the back of Davis, and he gets a free kick. It's advantage. John Cock takes it, almost gets run down. It falls fortuitously to Burton, who goes short to Vince. 60 metres out from goal, kicks to the pocket. Tippett one-on-one. Tippett takes it. Kurt Tippett. Now, this is going to be a real test for the youngster. A well-documented slow start to the season. An early goal would be oh so important to his confidence, and he's only 20 metres out, 45-degree angle in the right forward pocket.
Well, Bulldogs, look out. Crows are on.
Schwabby said the Crows wouldn't get near the Doggies tonight.
Well, it's early. It's only 3 minutes.
Tippett comes in, shoots at goal and splits the middle. The Crows have got 2 in 5 minutes, and at 2-1-13, the Bulldogs yet to score.
Been wrong before, Adam. No, they look on, Adelaide. I know it's early. It's only 4 minutes, Chris, but there's some spark about them and the way they're moving the ball. And Tippett's a big target, and Lake is really, he's got his work cut out there.
Just noticing too, every time Adelaide get the ball, they're spreading really fast, and that's one of the areas of the game where they've looked really slow. They just haven't been willing to actually get into space individually, and every time Adelaide are getting the ball now, you just see the white shorts really spread, so it's actually pulling the Dogs apart. Conversely, the Dogs, they just can't get it out of defence at the moment, and that was their problem last week.
It's Chris Grant on Grandstand AFL. Marriage climbs high in the middle at the bounce. Won it down, but Jan Siracusa will win the kick up to half forward. It didn't go far enough, and he gets it back on the ricochet. Second time finds a teammate. Brad Johnson out at the 50. Wants to play on. Dabs it forward. Murphy clunks the mark. Kelly Underwood.
Yeah, just up the other end, Jared. Ricky Henderson has come on for his first run. He's playing his first game. You got a feel for him as he was about to run on. Andrew McLeod, the game's record holder for the Crows, had a bit of a pep talk to him, and he's down in the forward line for the Crows.
Robert Murphy has the shot at goal. Had a howler last week. He's on a tough angle out to the left. Looking to start his night from 45. He swings it at goal. Gee, that made a late bend across the face and misses to the right-hand side. The Dogs with it behind. Adelaide 2-1.
Talking like a man who has Robert Murphy in their dream team. John Cox short to Thompson, who takes the mark. A little 30-metre kick from John Cox.
Does the word poison mean anything to you, Whitey?
Well, he did have 9 possessions last week, Murphy, so it wasn't a great night. The Crows just kicking it around in defence. Short pass to Riley, who marks at defensive 50, left half back. They're wanting to switch back towards the dock side, and they'll do it comfortably as Riley finds Davis, who can take a bounce as he cuts defensive 50 with a second bounce. Kick towards the wing to Cook, who marks on his chest on the second attempt out in front of Eagleton. He's precise with his kick, or is he precise? No, it's a poor one. It's out of bounds on the full, just in front of Nathan Van Berlo. So the free kick to be taken by Addison.
Addison is going to punch it back down the line. Murphy was caught behind Doughty, and the spoils are made and the ball's back out of play. 7 minutes gone. It's Adelaide by 2 goals, and their supporters would be heartened by the way they've started. They ring the interchanges as the throw is back into play. The ruckman probably shared it. Hudson tried to bullock his way clear, couldn't. Edwards hand passes out the back to Riley. He just does the double take, gets away, but he's leaking ground. Hand pass to Davis, back to Riley. Well inside the defensive 50 and under the hammer. They've dropped it stone cold against the boundary, and Davis gets away with daylight robbery at night. In a tackle, dropped the ball. Umpire blindsided, it's out of play. And then he kicked it out on the full.
Well, that's what he's asking. I think he's asking him, and maybe the field umpire's seen it. I think it'll be a throw-in. I can't see the
There's 2 free kicks here to the Dogs, and neither is going to be paid. It's a boundary throw in inside the Bulldogs 50. Barry Hall does the ruck work, gets it at the back, throws it onto the right boot, sets it up to full forward, and with good protection, Griffin comes out and takes the mark.
I was just about to say I hadn't seen Griffin or Cooney yet, but well done by Barry. It's quite easy in the end, you know, for a crowded sort of throw-in. There was so much space on what we call the fat side, and there's no pressure on Griffin going for the ball.
No, well, Adelaide had to have someone out the back, didn't they? They left it open.
It's an elementary shot for a kick like Griffin. He's 40 out, and he opens the Bulldogs' account with a major. 1-1-7. Adelaide 2-1-13. We've gone 8.5 minutes.
Well, if I was Neil Craig, I'd be spitting chips with that, because you picked it up, Swabby, at the back of the contest inside the Doggies 50. You have to have coverage not only on your defensive side, but someone coming out the back. And if Barry Hall was ever going to go into the ruck, that's where he's going to be looking to either put the ball, or as he does sometimes, run away with it. He's got very good body strength. And Adelaide just, well, look, they were following their men, but that's the spot I would have thought that Barry Hall was wanting to get the ball into, and he made the most of the opportunity.
So we're going to have Jordan Roughhead in the ruck in his first game, with Hudson taking a break. He'll be up against Marich when we finally get things back underway. The bounce of the footy's a good one. There's a free kick, though. It's a holding free kick. It's going to the Western Bulldogs to be taken by Daniel Cross. So from the middle of Docklands, he kicks long. It's not a great kick. Dowdy with the spoil. Punches it 30 metres out towards the city wing. Vince is first there. Tackle came from Johnson. Vince decides to just paddle it over the boundary, and he finds touch. So there'll be a throw-in between wing and half forward for the Bulldogs, attacking down to the Lockett end in this first turn. Throw in. Roughhead, good body work. Free kick. The third man into the contest and gave away a free kick in the process, as Schwabby called. So the free kick to be taken by Roughhead. Distributes a hand pass to Griffin. Got a lot of space and a lot of time on the city wing. Long kick. Hole 1-on-1. Gets to the front. Spoil was good from Rutten. Ball jars free to Hahn. Flying shot at goal. Spiked over the line by Henderson, and will have a rush behind.
That was well done by Rutten,
wasn't it?
Yeah,
I thought
he was out of position.
For all the will that Barry had him, and he just got a fist in.
Rutten called to go again, this time to take the mark under pressure outside the 50. Flicks the hand pass on to Goodwin, to Davis, to Edwards, and back to Goodwin, running into the middle of Docklands. Sets it up forward to the middle, didn't find a target. Petrenko's trying to win it. Douglas there as well. Griffin keeps it away from the pair. Knights is able to pull it clear. Hand pass to Douglas, mown down by Harbrow. Ball out against the boundary. Knights competing to keep it in. It won't stay the right side of the line. It'll be tossed in. 55 out from the Adelaide goal. They attack to the southern end in the opening term. Marich and Roughhead. Roughhead wins it to the front for the Bulldogs. Moles is there, so a couple of the youngsters combine. Moles' kick went nowhere, though. It just rolled its way to Douglas. He gave it to Thompson inside the 50 with an ugly little kick. He's booted it out on the full.
So the free kick to be taken by Morris. Right back pocket for the Dogs. Almost had to jump the fence to get the footy. There's no one sitting
it's
in
unusual,
that forward
isn't it?
pocket.
That's the Adelaide supporter end, isn't it? Have a look at it.
Morris elects to play on, then kicks long. Massive pack of players. Roughhead there. Marich over the top, scores it over the boundary. Will have a throw in.
I'm interested who's going to give Marich a spell.
Tippett, maybe?
Yeah, well, I need someone, because he's not going to be able to ruck all night.
Marich and Roughhead again. It's over the top. Cook, third man to the contest. Jen Siracusa read it well, though, for the Dogs. Hand pass to Hahn. Spent it very, very quickly out near the boundary, and it goes over. We'll have a throw in centre wing on the city side of Docklands. I reckon 27,000 fans in. So not a bad crowd for a Doggies game against a non-Victorian team. Throw in again. Roughhead caught behind here. Hudson, the third man up this time. Knights crumbs it for the Crows. He's immediately tackled. The umpire comes in and calls for a bounce. 12.5 minutes gone in the opening quarter. Friday night footy. The Western Bulldogs 1-8. Adelaide 2-13.
The They've split their last 4, these two teams. A couple of thrillers in that set of matches as well. Hudson down to Jan Syracuse. He can't break out. Another bounce. Kelly?
Yeah, Jared Schwabby was just mentioning about the backup ruckman. They used Tippett last week in Adelaide. Seller is their preferred backup ruckman. He's out with a hamstring injury at the moment.
Hudson, good tap down to Jan Syracuse. He got a kick to clear the play, but Higgins got bowled over by John Cock. Thompson has a touch. So too Edwards to McLeod, and now to Goodwin. Runs it into the middle for Riley. He's the kicker. Sets it to half forward. Pulling it in with the 1 mitt was poor Pleasure. Spreads the play, and Burton Marks plays on. Runs around on the right. Boots the goal. Not the most orthodox way from 15 out, but it gets the job done. Adelaide 3-1-19 to the Bulldogs 1-2-8. 13 and a half gone on grandstand AFL.
You've probably got something to say here, Soggy, but I've just noticed the Doggies, when they get scored heavily against in those 2 games against Collingwood and Brisbane Lions last week, particularly in that second half, they got a lot of ball out the back easy. Now, that was through a stoppage. Everyone should have had a man at that stage, and they're still getting plays. That's the area of the concern for the Dogs at the moment.
And McLeod off half-back is very instrumental in getting through the corridor to initiate the first move. And they were smart there. They moved that ball really well. 3 goals in 13 minutes, where last week they struggled to kick goals, is a really good sign for Adelaide.
2 of Adelaide's key players, Thompson and Edwards, already 5 possessions. Tippett is in the ruck. Hand pass almost from Edwards out of the traffic. Tippett jumps on top. Thompson trying to prize it free. Cooney with the tackle. Still in dispute. It's Brad Johnson. Hurried kick for the Doggies. Up towards half forward. Going back, showing courage with the flight. Douglas takes a terrific chest mark. Bounces to his feet. Kicks towards half forward. Thompson in front, took the mark. Hand pass, released the run of Tippett, but he went without it. Fights hard at ground level. Crashing in Hudson for the Bulldogs. Still Tippett working hard, trying to feed out a hand pass. Eventually Cooney does for the Dogs. Hand passed it to Johnson. Hurried kick, found Ackermanis. Hand pass to Moles through the middle. Kick inside 50. Over the head of Roughhead. Deep in the pocket. Davis there for the Crows. Escorts it over. And we'll have a boundary throw-in. Promising move from the Bulldogs. Just breaking down with that final kick inside 50.
The Doggies will
through Roughhead forward.
I was about to say, the Doggies will try him forward. He's a good mark overhead.
Tippett wins the tap against Hall. Front of the pack, Douglas getting lots of the footy. Hand pass a little speculative. Tried to get it to Riley, but cutting it off Eagleton. He's immediately tackled. Moles did well. Hand pass, though, not quite to Hall. Riley did well. Hand pass towards Johncock. Now to Rutten. Across the face of goal. The kick is okay. And the mark taken by Phil Davis.
He's been good, Davis.
Yeah, he's been very solid early, folks. The hand pass up to Edwards. Had to push off Brad Johnson and did, maybe a little easily, but the kick has been cut off. Gilby got there to make the interception. Squares it up to centre half forward. Moles marks, has 2 runners at the 50. Puts it down the throat of Eagleton. And everybody knowing his prowess with the boots says go back and take the long range shots.
First touch, Jerry.
For Eagleton?
For Eagleton, yes.
Yeah.
It's going to be a kick at goal. From 50 metres out, Eagleton flush on the left boot, misses to the left-hand side. And the Dogs advance to 1-3, trailing Adelaide 3-1 halfway through the opening term.
Oh, dangerous here, really dangerous, because the kick wasn't great. Turnover. It eventually comes to Cooney. Hand pass to Eagleton from the 50. Back towards Hall. Huge pack of players. Crows ball. Davis again. Hand pass to Vince, who links up with John Cock close to the boundary. Ball back in dispute. John Cock has to go back and get it again. Hand pass to McLeod. Now to Edwards. Big tackle from Everett close to the boundary. Ball jars free. 40 out. Johnson somehow feeds a hand pass to Jan Syracuse, who swings a kick towards goal and gets the goal. They manufactured something from nothing close to the boundary. Brad Johnson with the hand pass. Jan Syracuse from the pocket. He's kicked the goal, and it's the Bulldogs 2-3-15. Adelaide 3-1-19.
How did Johnson get it out? That'll be the interesting thing. Oh, well done. Oh, great little handball. Acker did well too to keep it in. You're right, they manufactured something from nothing, but the finish was very good.
Killian. Underwood.
Everett off for the Bulldogs, straight down into the rooms. Just got a nick above the eye, so you'd think he'd go in for some stitches and they'll stop the bleeding, and he should be back out soon.
Adelaide by 4 points. Dogs certainly in the match now. Bounced back in the middle. Tippett takes his turn in the ruck. Hudson wins it cleanly, though. Heavy contact there, Van Berlo. He'll be feeling it. Packed form. It's going to be hard to win out. Griffin's trying to release a hand pass. Try as he might, he'll fail. And still in the centre circles. We'll try again. 15 plays 19. 18 gone of this term. Burton's the third man up in the middle. He had a good spring about him too. Down to Edwards. Stripped of the ball though. Johnson gets it to Cooney, who mishandled it. Gave Cook a look for the Crows, and he was able to get it out. Through Burton. On to Thompson. Now to Van Berlo. Across the face of goal comes Doughty on the kick. John Cook receives. Loops the hand pass over the top to Rutten. Could run if he wanted to. Instead he feeds off the hand pass. The Crows will run it up to halfway. Vince unloads the kick. It's a good one too, and Henderson is out to take the mark. He's 65 out from goal. The debutant hooks it up to the square. Dangerfield leans in. Tippett the other way. Loose ball. Dangerfield can't quite grasp it before it clears the line. It's a behind. 2-3 plays 3-2. It's Adelaide by 5.
Look, just for a minute then that Dangerfield was going to get his boot to it, but not quite in time. Gilby, short kick back into play to Lake, who goes short.
It's Addison, isn't it?
And the mark's taken by Williams, who goes back to the goal square, and it's Gilby. And they transfer play. Oh, Gilby's kicked the shank. He's kicked it straight out of bounds on the full. Griffin wanted it in the pocket. He's missed him by 10 metres. So the kick to Dangerfield, deep in the pocket, 40 metres out from goal. He's in the right forward pocket, so it doesn't really favour his right foot. He's going the centering ball, and Cooney cuts it off. So a wasted opportunity there for the Crows, and Cooney's immediately away. He kicks it to Gian Siracusa, into the middle to Murphy, hand pass to Moles, has to go back to Murphy by hand, flicking over the top. Murphy, it's to Williams, back to Moles again, running through, hand passes back to Williams, now towards Eagleton. Moles was also there, but the Dogs, have they mucked it up? No, not quite. Eagleton gets another opportunity. Hand passes to Williams, now to Murphy. Short pass to Johnson, bounces off his chest, back to Murphy by hand, back to Johnson by hand. Short pass to Hahn, who's taken it 2 kicks out from goal. Gee, they're mucking around with it, the Doggies, but they've still got possession. 75 out from goal, right half forward.
Well, there's about 12 possessions in a 20-metre area, but they've hung on to it, and now they're going back to centre half back.
Hahn's gone 60 metres back to Lake at centre half back, who transfers play to the dockside to Gilby, who takes the mark. He goes short towards Harbrow, back into the middle to Gian Siracusa, and he'll go back to the city side. So they're going from one side of the ground to the other. What does Williams do? He kicks to the pocket, and Johnson marks at the 50. So they were patient, the Dogs, and now they've possibly got a shot at goal. A hand pass from Johnson to Eagleton, who is standing right alongside. He swings it towards goal, and he's got the distance from 50. I don't think he quite timed it. It went very flat, but importantly, it went very straight. And all of a sudden, the Doggies are in front, 3-3-21.
You've been
Adelaide 3-2-20.
being polite there, Whitey, because that wasn't anything other than, well, it was a floater from 50.
Anything other than straight.
In fact, probably Nathan Eagleton's the only one who can kick a floater from 50 and still reach the distance. But I'll tell you what, Brad Johnson, I'll get a call from you, Paul, on how much ball Brad Johnson's had, but he's been in everything at the moment. He's had a lot of footy early, which is terrific for him coming back after 3 weeks off.
He's been good. Gian Siracusa's been good. Murphy's been good. They're very lively at the moment, the Bulldogs. So to say the Crows aren't playing well.
Jono's had 9 touches.
9 touches.
Nice to have you here, Dog.
Not bad.
Thanks, Jared. 28 points as well.
21 plays 20. The Dogs by a point. In the middle, Roughhead wins the tap. Ackermanis pries it loose. Hand passed up in the air, knocked on by Griffin. Was a good play. Cook was able to cut it off, though, for the Crows. Hand passed under pressure to Vince, who gives it to Van Berlo. He looks up to the 50. Good-looking kick to Marich running forward. Marks, plays on, misses near side. Ties it up at 3-3 apiece.
22 and a half minutes gone in this opening quarter. The kick back into play from Gilby's a good one. A nest of dogs. One of them is Cross, who took the mark and then hand passed it back to Lake, who's going back to the defensive goal square to Gilby again. And they'll try the other side. Gilby with a hand pass to Griffin. Griffin goes short, and the mark's been taken out on the far side by Everett at right half back. He's a little undecided where to go. A very congested City wing. So he goes short to Moles at the 50. Moles goes back to the defensive goal square. And the mark taken by Gilby. Gilby short to Williams. Still inside defensive 50. You can hear the Doggies fans getting a little restless. They'll get more than restless now because Williams has turned it over. Pleasure takes it. Hand pass intercepted though. Well read by Morris. Hand pass to Grant. Now to Higgins. Left foot kick to the wing. Harbrow should mark on his chest and does. Gets on with it quickly. Kick inside 50. First there, Hall. Paddles it to Johnson, who sped it before he had it. And it goes over for a boundary throw-in. 40 metres out from the Doggies' goal, left half forward.
They just looked at each other, didn't they then? I think Barry really could have taken possession, drawn the tackle and released him with a handball.
He's had a lot of it, Johnson. He's got a bit of ring rust about him, though. Hall leans into the ruck contest. It comes the way of Moles to Eagleton. Took the tackle. Hand pass for Hahn. Cook got in the way. Hahn will kick the goal. Cook wasn't able to take possession nor force it through, and 1 metre out. Hahn takes the full-blooded swing with the boot and gives the Dogs the lead by that. 4-3 to 3-3. 24 minutes into the opening term.
I mean, young Cook did well to actually get in front of Hahn, and then he fell over. He's just got bodied out of it. Fell over, and Hahn's just... Oh, that's poor by Cook. Very poor.
He did the hard work.
Yeah, he worked his way to the front and should have been able to take the ball through. Signs here that the Crows' early energy is dissipating and the Bulldogs have just lifted a cog and they're just using the ball. They're patient. They're switching it from side to side, either in the middle or down back just to find the space. And once they find the space, they're exposing the Crows.
Peter Schwab, Chris Grant, Gerard Whateley and Adam White.
Marich in ruck against Roughhead. Marich won it down. Vince hand pass to Goodwin. Goodwin coming off the square. Eventually got the hand pass to Edwards. Flicked it back to Vince. Hurry kick to the 50. Cut off. Doggies have got the numbers again. Cross hand passes to Everett. Charging through. Sweeps a hand pass to Eagleton. He's tackled as he tries to release the ball. Comes to Thompson. Hand pass out the back. Kick inside 50 towards Burton coming from Henderson. But he can't control it. Goes out of bounds. 25 out from the Crows' goal in their right forward pocket. So both teams making plenty of errors coming out of defence. Throw in deep in Adelaide's attacking zone. Tippett in the front wins the tap. Ackermanis reads it well. Tackle may have been high from Tippett. Umpire says play on. Ball back in dispute. Burton tried to get the ball across there to Henderson. Unsuccessful. Out of bounds. 70 out now from the Crows' goal. Still on the right half forward flank. Nearly 26 gone in the opening quarter. The Doggies by 6 points. In front, it's Marich to the front of the pack. Douglas gets a high tackle. Immediately plays on. Was awarded a free kick. Advantage paid. Oh, Tippett, yes! Gets it! 2 bites. He seemed to be out of the contest, but he's tilted back. He's long arms, got 2 hands to it, and juggled the mark, and he'll line up 15 out straight in front.
Well, poor by Lake. Just lost his footing. He's struggling on Tippett.
Yeah, no, he hasn't looked like it in any of the contests. That would be the concern. This is where this guy excels, though, isn't it? When this guy's hot, doesn't matter who the fullback is.
Well, in the first 4 weeks, he's kicked 1 goal late. Now he has 2 straight in just 26 minutes of footy. And it's locked the scores back up at 4-3, 27 apiece after 27 minutes. He looks a different player tonight than what we've seen in the past 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, he looks like last year's form. But what you don't... I mean, he's 201 centimetres. Oh, it's a big man. And Lake's giving away a fair bit of height there. So he just fell over there, Lake. And Young, was it... Williams, he was too concerned with Dangerfield, so he wasn't going to be able to go up third man, which he probably in some ways could have. But they got some problems with that height discrepancy down there.
Well, he won't be happy looking at that replay, Brian Lake, because that was a pretty poor effort to hold his feet. So he'll be having to do better than that through the rest of the night to redeem himself for that one.
Scores a level on grandstand to AFL. Hudson the tap for the Dogs. Straight down to Jan Syracuse. Kicks to full forward. Hall's in front. Spoil made late by Rutten. Coming through as Murphy. Hand pass to Higgins. Gives it out to Brad Johnson on the bounce. Oh, he found a gap through the traffic and pulled the kick rather hopelessly out toward the boundary. It rolls harmlessly out of play.
Yeah, it parted for him, but he wasn't able to take advantage.
10 possessions to June Syracuse.
Yeah, I thought he's been good.
Deep forward. Hall lurks around the ruck, so too Roughhead comes to the back. Harms trying to knock it clear. He can't. Crows hold up here. Rutten is able to give it to Vince. Kicks them outside the defensive 50 and at least provides a reprieve for the moment. Jan Syracuse, though, is there to cut it off. Hand pass was intercepted. Edwards gets it away to Vince. Out to half-back with a kick. Thompson knocks it on. It was clever stuff. Harbrow and Petrenko. Harbrow leads the chase. Petrenko hangs on, holding the ball.
Great effort, great tackle.
Key win for the 20-year-old. The Crows looking to take full toll. They rush it forward, kick inside the 50. Too high for Tippett. Trying to butter up as Henderson. Hand pass to Douglas. Kicks to full forward. Dangerfield with the flight, bouncing into the post. So too Dangerfield, who has rattled the woodwork. And he's just a little wobbly as he rises. The Crows lead by a point.
What's more wobbly, Dangerfield or the post? I've never seen the post move so much.
I'm wondering how he missed the post.
Yeah, would have seen it. You would have thought
extraordinary.
Douglas has been good, Paul. How many's he had?
Oh, hang on.
Oh, nearly a turnover. Harbrad dropped the mark. The pressure came from Dangerfield. The short pass, he's okay. Doggy's out of trouble. Moles has taken the mark. 40 out from his defensive goal square. Looking a little uncertain, so he goes wide to Brad Johnson, who takes the mark still inside defensive 50. Kick towards the wing is okay. And the mark's been taken by Addison out on the boundary, city wing. He'll go short to Ackermanis on the lead. 25 metres short pass. He's okay. Acker mark, short pass also to Murphy, who can't take the mark on his chest. Bounced off his body and it bounced out of bounds.
Oh, I think you've been harsh. I think the kick by Acker should need
a little low.
He needed a bit more petrol on it.
Throw in. Marich and also Hudson. Marich won it down. Acker again. Hand pass out to Gian Syracuse. Floats the ball towards half forward. Dowdy with the spoil on Murphy. No mark taken. Pack develops right on the bottom of the pack is Goodwin and will have a bounce. Right half forward for the Doggies. We've now crossed 30 minutes in this opening quarter. It's the Crows by points.
Hudson and Marich to contest the bounce right half forward for the Dogs. Marich, there was a bit of manhandling going on and he's dragged Hudson out of the contest. Free kick the Bulldogs' way. Hudson kicks to the forwards. Hall crashes the pack. Can't hang on to the mark. Heavy work has to be done. Schmidt did okay. Didn't get a possession but opened things up for Davis. Out to McLeod. Kicks outside the defensive 50. It's aimless low. The Dogs have the numbers. Brad Johnson back up to half forward with a kick. Roughhead gave it to Gilby, who spilt it. Roughhead tried to knock it on. McLeod got in the way. Adelaide come out. Hand pass to Port Pleasure. He missed his target, but Cook has a run at it. Took the contest, broke away, and the siren beats the kick to half forward, where Van Berlo had a reasonable shot at the mark. It's quarter time on Friday night footy, and Adelaide in a high-intensity match, 4-4-28, lead the Western Bulldogs 4-3-27. 2 for Tippett with singles to Vince and Burton. 1 each to Hahn, Eagleton, Jan Syracuse and Griffin. It's the Crows by a point over the Dogs after the first term. This is Grandstand AFL on ABC Local Radio, News Radio, Digital Radio, and streaming online at afl.com.au.
Celebrate the words and music of one of this country's finest songwriters.
Gather around, people, let me tell you a story.
Before too long, Triple J's tribute to Paul Kelly.
Seem like forever till the silence stops. I hope you'll keep it well. You can put
Before too long, on CD and DVD from ABC Shops, Centres and ABC Shop Online.
How many cabs in New York City? How many angels on a pin?
Grandstand AFL.
It falls fortuitously to Burton, who goes short to Vince. 60 metres out from goal. Kicks to the pocket. Tippett one-on-one. Tippett takes it. Tippett comes in. Shoots it. Goal and splits the middle.
Pulling it in with a 1 mitt was Paul Pleasure. Spreads the play. Burton marks. Plays on. Runs around on the right. Boots the goal.
Ball just free. 40 out. Johnson somehow beats a hand pass to Jan Syracuse, who swings a kick towards goal and gets the goal. A hand pass from Johnson to Eagleton, who is standing right alongside. He swings it towards goal and he's got the distance from 50.
All leans into the ruck contest. It comes the way of Moles to Eagleton. Took the tackle. Hand pass for Hahn. Cook got in the way. Hahn will kick the goal.
Grandstand AFL on ABC Local Radio.
The sounds of the opening term from Docklands. It's the Crows by a point over the Bulldogs. Peter Schwab is with Chris Grant.
Well, as you would expect, statistically, we're just having a quick look at the statistics. They're always going to be reasonably even and also reflect the way a team plays. The Bulldogs very high in uncontested marks, which is this movement of the ball. They don't panic. They'll take it from one side of the back pocket over to the other back pocket to try and find the space, and then they'll dart forward if they can. Look, I just put a couple of things down from probably Rocket's concerning points. I think he'd be worried about the Tippett late matchup, but I reckon he'll let it go a little bit longer. But Tippett's in good form, and that's a bit of a worrying sign because he's a big player and he's dominant in the air. And I think on the other side, Neil Craig will be saying, let's try when we can, particularly on one-on-one situations. Don't muck around and get the ball in a little bit deeper. Cooney's been quiet. I think they'd be happy with that, the Adelaide Crows, and I think the Bulldogs wouldn't be too happy with that, so Rocket will be having a word to him. We spoke about Jono and Gene Syracuse having a lot of the ball, but maybe Jono hasn't probably really hurt them with the possessions he's had, but at the same time they don't want that to continue. Good game. Crows are on. I thought halfway through the quarter where the Doggies got back on top, I thought they were starting to squeeze them a bit, but they fought back near the end of that quarter, and they'd be pretty pleased with themselves. There's a lot of energy, which is nice to see. There's better ball movement. The forward line looks more dangerous. Rutten's doing a good job on Hall, so there's some good signs there. The Bulldogs, touch of concern, but I think Rocket will be saying, all right, we expected this to happen in first quarter because they've been under the pump. Let's lift our intensity and use the ball a bit better than what we have been.
Look, Adelaide would be extremely happy with the way they started. The first half of that quarter, we commented on how they looked sharp with their hands, they looked sharp across the ground, they ran into space, and I said about halfway through that their white shorts of the Adelaide players looked like they were spreading well. And the area of concern for them over the first 4 weeks, they just didn't get the ball going forward fast at all. So no matter who they were playing, the opposition were able to get numbers back. That didn't happen. That didn't happen in the first 15 minutes. You called it, that three goals within 13 minutes. What the Bulldogs are good at is going the other way, and really the next 5 or 10 minutes you did feel that sort of momentum swing. Did feel like, particularly through the middle of the ground, felt like the Bulldogs were moving the ball a lot faster than Adelaide were. I don't know whether that was fatigue or fitness or what that was, or whether they've just got more numbers going through that midfield rotation, but it seemed like in the second half of that quarter they were able to get players moving and delivering into the forward line a lot quicker than they were in the first half. You called it, that the Tippett matchup was a concern after the first 2 goals had been kicked by Tippett. I was disappointed with Brian Lake's efforts in those ones, because one of the areas of strength for him is his ability to go one-on-one in the air, particularly against the guys, even the Jonathan Browns of the world last week. He did really well in the body contest, but those first 2 ones, and in fact he would have had the other one if you called it, Burton came over and actually spoiled what would have been a Tippett mark about 30 metres outside of goal in the first couple of minutes of the game. So look, both teams would be relatively happy with areas of the first quarter. No doubt the Adelaide in the first 15 minutes and probably the Bulldogs in the second 15 minutes. But I do think the area of concern, maybe I'm hoping they spoke about it again at quarter time, is their ability to stop play and the opposition getting the ball quickly over the back, over the last line of defence. And each time Adelaide have gone and scored goals, it's been because they've got the ability to kick over that line, and that's really caught the Bulldogs out. So let's see how it unfolds.
It's the Crows by 1 point as we commence the second term. The Dogs to the Coventry end to end this. High bounce in the middle. Marich read it, knocked it down, but there's a free kick off the ball. It's Cooney who was held.
Van Berlo, I think, might have the job on him, so he's done a good job.
Cooney thumps it in. Long haul will be there. Ackermanis rises as high as I've seen in some years. He didn't bring in the mark, though. Vince brings it away through John Cock and Rutten, and now out to Schmidt in the right back pocket. He's seen Burton at half back, and he put it straight down his throat. McLeod had run on, so too has Van Berlo. Burton hatches the footing.
I'm just watching young Davis, who was very good for Adelaide. He got hurt in that marking contest.
High up the city wing, having a fly. That was Petrenko. He dropped it, and his opposite, his opponent there was able to bring it away. Harbrow up to Grant, now to Jan Syracuse. They're inside the 50, and Hahn is taking the mark in the forward pockets.
Yeah, Schmidt got caught spectating, watching the football and not where Hahn was, and he slipped in behind him. So the young fella just defensively didn't do his job.
Petrenko dropped the mark on the wing. They lost control of the ball after Burton was probably a bit tardy moving it on. It is whisked down the other end, and it's in the hands of Mitch Hahn. His set shot is into the right-hand goal post. The same one that a good rattling from Patrick Dangerfield. Scores a level. Paul, a couple of the numbers thus far?
Yes, certainly, Jared. Very good for the Western Bulldogs were Johnson with 12, Gio with 13, Moles with 10, Thompson for the Crows with 8, and Vince with 9.
Crows have worked it to half-back where Rutten's taken the mark. We were speaking before, Shawty, about Phil Davis may be hurt. But look at his shorts. They're the biggest pair of shorts I've ever seen on an AFL footballer. Short pass to Burton, hand pass to McLeod running past. Really ordinary kick really towards half-forward. Didn't give Tippett any chance at all, and a ball bounced out of bounds, and we'll have a throw-in between wing and half-forward for the Crows out on the city side. Remember Okanuis, Jared? They look like Okanuis.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. I've got the glasses on them now.
They're very big.
They're baggy.
They stand out when they're white too. Marich wins the tap from the restart, then players converge from both sides. It comes out the back. Bit of a chance there for the Dogs through Cross. Hand pass knocked down there by Cook. He did well. Worked it towards the boundary. Does it stay in? No, it doesn't. There's a free kick, in fact, and it's going Adelaide's way to Cook against Daniel Cross for a push in the back. So Cook, dead set centre wing on the city side. Short pass to Knights, who takes the mark out in front of his eyes. Swings onto his customary left foot. Up towards Burton, almost took the mark. Did fly well. Lake, though, got the hand pass to the Cooney, and Cooney's out of trouble. Hand passing to Griffin. Now to Gian Syracuse. Back towards Gia. Hand pass towards Griffin again, running past. Couldn't control the footy. Loose ball. Everett for the Dogs. He works hard. He's dispossessed. Adelaide tackling well. Ball in dispute. Eventually it's Marich hand passing out to Van Berlo. Now to Knights. Now back towards Van Berlo. Inside 50. Tippett caught out of position, and the Doggies all clear, and it's Harbrow getting it outside 50.
He kicks it to the broadcast wing. He needs Higgins. He traps it on the first bounce and looks for the next target. It's long and strong for Hall. Rutten's with him. Hall takes it on the second grab.
Good effort. Rutten's hard to beat one-on-one. Barry's able to grab it on the second bite.
He's not going to have a shot. Instead, he's going to set it up to full forward. Out in front is Roughhead. Can't mark. Griffin is coming through. Gets it to the left boot. Kicks it up to the roof. It won't make the distance. It stops on the goal line. Cooney's in the play. McLeod is hand passing through the score. And under pressure, it stands as one rushed behind. That's what separates the two teams. It's the Dogs by a point.
John Cock kicks it back into play to Van Berlo. They want to move this one quick. Van Berlo out towards the wing. Bit of a chance here. In fact, it's a free kick. And the Crows can work it through Schmidt. Also their Cook. Hand pass out to Riley. Sweeps along, hand pass towards the wing. Crows have got a 2-on-1 situation. Ball sits for Knights. Hand pass to Petrenko. Now back towards Riley. He kicks up to Cook, who marks it half forward. Hits the ground running. Pokes a kick into the pocket. Henderson with the run at it. Couldn't quite take the mark over his head. And out of play, 30 metres out from Adelaide's goal. Kelly Underwood.
Yeah, the Bulldogs have been using their captain Brad Johnson in Burton burst tonight. He came off 3 or 4 times in that opening quarter, started the second term on the bench and has only just run onto the ground.
Tippett in ruck against Hudson. Tippett did win it down, back into the congestion. Cooney charges onto the loose ball, did well, sweeps a hand pass out of trouble. Late there, close to the boundary in the back pocket, did well, got away from Henderson, got the hand pass to Cross, who hand passed it to Johnson, now to Eagleton with a short pass, Eagleton to the wing, and it's Robert Murphy marking in front of Dowdy, shapes the hand pass to Eagleton, but instead goes longer to Johnson from a standing start towards Everett. He's paid the mark going back with a flight. 60 metres out from goal, just inside the centre square.
Umpire anticipated it.
Yep. Everett, long kick. Hall going back with a flight against Rutson. Hall marks, plays on and kicks the goal. It was body on body between two of the strongest men in the AFL, and Barry Hall took the mark, played on, kicked the goal, and it is the Bulldogs 5-5-35, Adelaide 4-4-28, 6 minutes gone, second term.
Well, we all saw the end result, but I must admit, watching Barry Hall for the 5 or 6 seconds prior to him actually getting on the end of that kick over the back. Terrific mark, one-on-one. He's one of the best at stopping that Rutten. But he worked his absolute backside off Barry Hall. He led about 3 times. He then rolled back to the goal square, and the kick eventually came into the goal square area. But it wasn't just a one-on-one contest. It was a running contest before that. So he earned every bit of that goal, Barry Hall.
And that's Hall's strength of Hall's game, which is underrated.
Chris Grant, full of admiration for Barry Hall's backside, was what I took out of that. It's the Dogs by 7 points. They'll win the centre clearance. Cross kicks it up beyond the middle. Not a great kick, though. McLeod traps it, gives it to Edwards. Hand pass to Davis. Lobs it forward. Thompson marks. Wants to play on. Nothing immediate to go to. Places his kick to half forward. Not great. Jan Syracuse got to the front of Riley, and Riley pushed, as you heard Schwalbe mention. So the Dogs across half-back. The kick finds Griffin. Slopes away from the mark. Hand pass to Cross. Short ball to Gilby. Out across half-back now for Williams. Has the target running for him over the top. Delivers out to the wing. Addison against the boundary.
Played on. Go at him.
We'll see it back into the field of play, and Cook comes at him. Addison hugging the boundary line. Sets it in the Ackermanis direction. John Cock too strong. Dropped the mark. Gave Acker a second look. Hand passed out to Grant. Brought down by Thompson. And now trapped over it is Jared Grant. The umpire watches the ball come clear, but not in terms of open play. It's disputed and will be bounced at right half forward for the Dogs. They lead by 7.
Bounce of the footy, 70 metres out from the Doggies' goal, right half forward. Cross third man up, slaps it backwards towards Eagleton. Good hip and shoulder work there from Petrenko, but the Doggies have the numbers. Harborough hand pass to Moles, who sweeps it to Gilby. Now to Johnson, 70 out, short pass is a good one. And Jared Grant marks on his chest, 45 metres out from goal, about a 30-degree angle just right of centre.
Jono's had 15 possessions, and Gian Syracuse has had 18 touches.
Yeah, I mean, I reckon Gene Syracuse is cutting them up. Their foot passing now has gone to a really high level, the Bulldogs, and Adelaide are getting caught out.
So Jared Grant in just his second game wearing the number 1. As he starts his approach, gets inside the 50, kicks it out to the left, it floats back, and it's a goal. And they come from everywhere to celebrate with the youngster. As the Doggies move out to 6-5-41, Adelaide 4-4-28. So a 13-point lead to the Bulldogs at the 9-minute mark of the second quarter.
Yeah, I mean, Jono's starting to find his range too now. I thought, we spoke in the first quarter, he was a little bit rusty. I think the last 3 or 4 touches I've seen him have, he's created some really good passes and opportunities.
And that's Jared Grant's first goal.
Good on him.
AFL.
Yeah, and he kicked it very nicely. He kicked through it. He knew it was a goal straight away. As soon as he kicked it, he put his hand up.
It's been a little while, but it's got a beautiful ring to it. Grant boots a goal for the Bulldogs. They lead by 13 points on grandstand AFL. Bounce is good and high in the middle, and neither ruckman was able to make much of it. Moles came from the wing. He was very physical on Edwards. Got caught with the footy. It bobbles around and won't emerge. Our men in green tonight, umpiring Matt Stevick, Troy Pennell and Shane McInerney. Tossed up on the outer of the two circles. Marriage with the tap. It's buried underfoot. Dangerfield's trying to pry it clear. Works a hand pass. Didn't find a teammate. Cook is the tackler here. Someone's got to win the ball, though. Moles tried. Harbrow was pretty rough on Petrenko. Ball trapped again, going nowhere. Just a maul which moved 10 or 12 metres across the centre circle. Plenty of players around it. This one is thrown up. The umpire shaped the bounce, and I think he lost patience with the players not giving him enough room. Thompson is able to pull it clear. Kicks the Crows inside the 50. Lake stands against them, though, and his distribution on this occasion is excellent. His kick finds Eagleton. Long to full forward. Rutten works Hall underneath. John Cock at the back. Slipped over. Ackerman has got him. Hand passed into the pocket. Rutten. Hall got him. The tackling's excellent. Hall comes again. Trying to bullock it clear. Rutten forces back the other way. McLeod caught again. They're stuck in the pocket. Ackerman has shoveled it out, but he was the wrong side of the boundary.
Great terrific, wasn't it? Terrific. Hall, Ackermanis. Hall was outstanding in that. I'll tell you what, they move pretty quick when he runs at them.
It's the sort of forward pressure that deserves a goal. Marriage knocks it down to the front. Eagleton won't keep it in. He sees it back out of play.
See a sense of urgency here when he's shaping the tackle. Or
I just think it's sensible from the Adelaide players.
Oh, don't worry about that, mate. I'll be
run.
Yeah, no doubt.
Throw in. Marriage in front wins the tap down to Cook, who has been lively for the Crows. Hand pass missed the target. It's Higgins, hard on the line. Centering ball's a good one. Grant nearly, but Davis did spoil well. Murphy caught out of position, may have got a free kick. Going in hard for the Doggies was Roughhead. Creates a contest. Will have a bounce 40 out from Bulldogs goal. Dead centre, so in a very dangerous spot. With the Bulldogs leading by 13 points. Roughhead and Marriage in ruck. Cook actually was the third man to the contest. He runs away with the footy. Hand passes it to Thompson at defensive 50. Rushes a kick towards the middle. Burton picked it up well on the bounce. Hand pass to Knight. Wants to get onto his left foot, but Everett cornered him. So he has to go back inboard with a hand pass to Van Berlo. Now to Edwards. Kick inside 50. Tip at best position to mark. Good spoil there from Lake. Support comes from Williams. Hand pass to Morris. Sweeps a hand pass towards Johnson, and the Bulldogs should get out of trouble. Johnson elects to go backwards. It's okay. Williams takes the mark in the left back pocket and just tells his teammates, I'm going to settle things down, and go short, and Harbrow will take the mark still inside defensive 50.
Lake's a little hobbled from the previous marking contest. He's waving the trainers away, but he'll get attention shortly. Kick outside the defensive 50 for the Dogs is to Morris. Prepared to be patient with it. Back across the face of goal to Harbrow. Now Gilby on the transfer to the broadcast side. Everett offers the next target. 70 out from defensive goal. Roughhead leads on the centre line. It sits up. Rutten closes. Makes late contact. No additional penalty. Roughhead rises. Hand pass to Everett. Kicks up to the 50. Crows have numbers. Marriage is working back. Floats the hand pass on the play on. Almost got them into trouble. Paul Pleasure's kick is partially smothered. Crosses coming through. Hand pass to Everett. Got sent a hospital ball. Ran straight into a tackle. Wrapped up. It'll be bounced right half forward for the Dogs, who lead by 13.
Marriage can do some good things, and then he does some really bad things straight afterwards. For the first time tonight.
Like a good ruckman.
I was going to say,
think less.
He is a ruckman.
Think less about it and just do it.
Third man up here is Edwards from the bounce. Knocks it towards the boundary. Thompson tries to keep it into play, then crashes into the fence. We'll have a throw in. He couldn't quite keep it in play. A throw in right in front of us here on the broadcast wing. 14 minutes gone in the second term. It's the Bulldogs by 13 points. Again, it's Edwards, third man to the contest, winning the tap, but there's a free kick and it's going to the Western Bulldogs. Jen Siracusa takes it. Hand pass releases Cooney. Inside 50. Ackermanis the target. John Cock there, and he's infringed in the contest. Acker held John Cock by the arm, and John Cock takes the free kick. Short pass into the defensive goal square. Ben Rutten taking the mark for the Crows.
He's played on and he's under pressure. Hand pass to John Cock. Equally Comfortably so from Ackermanis. Works it around to Edwards, and the Crows do have the additional number to get out. Through Rutten. Kick had to be pinpointed in the defensive 50, and it was. Doughty marks. Brings them to the right half back. Here's Baggy Shorts. Davis goes up the line to halfway. Mark is taken by Schmidt, and he runs on. He's had a couple of bounces. Drops it to the right boot and kicks it hopelessly. It's easy work for Moles. He sets the Bulldogs up into the middle of Docklands. He missed Higgins, but he's not out of the play. Higgins against Vince. Marriage against Hall. Gian Syracusa against Marriage. Marriage lays the tackle. Buries Gia. Higgins wins the overflow though. Gives it to Eagleton. Now to Ackermanis. Inside the 50. Johnson marks on the lead. Hans rushing to the goal square. He'll mark, play on, and send it home. Terrific win in the midfield. Fierce individual contests. Once the Bulldogs spilled it clear, they were ruthless down the field. 7-5-47 to Adelaide 4-4-28.
Well, they look like scoring, the Bulldogs, because you're right, Jude. It was a great contest in the middle, and in a lot of those situations, whoever breaks from there scores, and the Bulldogs did. But they are looking more free-flowing. They're controlling the ball. They look like scoring. We're back to the same old problems with Adelaide. I'm sitting here thinking, how are they going to score, Chris? I just can't see. They can't get enough of the football in the middle of the ground, and they can't break from backline with any system or speed. Big trouble, Adelaide.
In 16 minutes of this second term, the Crows haven't scored. The Bulldogs have added 3 goals too. Hudson wins the tap from the middle. Gian Syracusa, clever little kick out towards Moles. He breaks 2 tackles. He's hand pass back towards Gia, who under pressure hand passes out into space. Running onto it, Griffin. Hand pass is a long one to Eagleton. Back to Griffin running past. Clever little kick to the 50, and Cross takes the mark. Griffin across his body was good. Cross on his left foot to Barry Hall, and Big Barry takes the mark out in front of Rutten, 40 out. But we go back to 2 really clever bits of play. It was the Gian Syracusa hand pass out into space, and the Griffin kick inside 50.
I think it's best on ground at the moment, Gian Syracusa.
21 possessions.
It's also, yeah, it is. A lot of the ball, but everything he's done is creative. Barry Hall's been very, very good this quarter.
Yeah, just the 3 kicks and 3 marks.
Pressure.
Chance for goal number 2. Pretty much straight in front. He kicks from right on the 50.
Beautiful.
And he loved it off the boot. So did his teammates as they converge on the big 28, because Barry Hall has kicked his second, and the Bulldogs are out by 25 points at the 17.5-minute mark of the second term. The Bulldogs 8-5-53, Adelaide 4-4-28.
Try Whitey, I was just going to say, I think the point that Gia is really standing, the reason why he's standing out so much in this game so far is that, you're right, it's not the possession, it's 21 possessions, terrific with the amount of ball he's got. But I'd like to know, I reckon he's had almost all of the goals that they've scored, he's had some sort of hand in. Now, the scoring assists may not show that, but the goal prior to that one, he was the instigator in getting that first use of the ball, and straight out of the middle of the next one, he's got the first use as well.
I looked at Van Berlo. He's pushing him. Van Berlo's been with Kearney. I thought he was then going to, I'll go back and play now on Gian Syracusa.
I think they've made the move now. Riley's gone on to him by the looks of things.
Peter Schwab and Chris Grant on Grandstand AFL. The Dogs by 25, winning the clearance out of the middle. Griffin was able to give it to Hahn. The kick comes forward from Everett. No mark taken by Murphy. Out against the boundary. Doughty offers good pressure. It's out of play.
Just no spark in the midfield for Adelaide. Can't win the ball. When they do win the ball, they can't move it with any precision.
Right half forward, the throw in. Tippett and Hudson. Tippett the tab. Griffin the footy. Worked through. Hand pass to Hahn. Worked it off to Cooney. Back to Griffin from 52. Kicks to the teeth of goal. Roughhead is there. Across from the side comes Higgins. And the smaller man takes the towering mark.
Great kick, dangerous spot, hooked it right across his body, front of goal. That's good hands from, not a real big man, is he, Higgins?
He certainly plays taller than he is.
He does. He's a good player.
He's looking for his first. The mark is set at the top of the goal square. It's a period of domination for the Bulldogs. This is the 5th of the term, and Higgins delivers the goods. The lead has blown out to 31 points, approaching time on of the second. 9:5:59 to Adelaide, 4:4:28.
Again, it was the speed. They won the stoppage. They just get forward quickly. Griffin, powerful and strong in the pack, kept following up. It's real danger for Adelaide. You look into the midfield now, you've got Riley, you had Van Berlo. They're probably playing negative roles. You've got Edwards in there. There's just... They just haven't got the quality of players in that part of the ground to cause the Bulldogs any trouble at all at the moment.
At quarter time, the Dogs had 8 more possessions. Now they've had 41 more possessions.
Yeah. Well, that's 2 players for a whole game. That's a lot of possessions more.
Complete domination in 20 minutes of this second term. We're back in the middle. Marich grabs it out of the ruck and is immediately tackled. I'm not sure why that wasn't a free kick. Play goes on, and now the umpire comes in and calls for a bounce. Scully Underwood.
Sinakamannis has just come back on down into the forward line. He's been overly cautious with his hamstrings. He's been off getting plenty of tension to the right hamstring. Of course, he missed last week through injury.
Cooney out of the congestion with a hand pass and off the ground from Jan Siracusa. Got it to the 50, but Dowdy picked up the ball. Hand pass to Johncock. Back to Dowdy, who links up with Schmidt. A clearing kick towards the halfback flanks, a good one, and Riley marks close to the boundary out on the City side. But once again, the Crows are caught wide. Short pass to Van Berlo on the City wing. Hand pass over the top to Goodwin. Now to Dangerfield. Can he get away from Grant? Not quite, he can't. But then breaks the tackle, takes a bounce, gets away from one, gets away from 2, and kicks the goal. One of the best goals you'll ever see.
Where did that
Patrick
come from?
Dangerfield.
Oh, he's talented. Don't worry about that. That was brilliant.
Well, just against the flow of the play, though.
Well, yeah, he was on the burst. He's got good speed, but Grant is quick, and he nearly had him, and he stood up, took a bounce, went to kick, and he sold the dummy beautifully, took another, goes in, finishes off what was a very good individual piece of play, but it's actually taken that sort of play to create a goal, which is going to happen once every match.
Bulldogs 9:5:59, Adelaide 5:4:34. It was like Dangerfield said, well, I'm going to take it upon myself here to try and get my team back into the game.
And he did it well.
Well, it might spark them too, because they need a spark.
Something perhaps to build on. Roughheaders into the ruck to compete against Marich. It's as straight as you like the bounce. Marich is going to pull it in, drop it to the right boot, kick the Crows inside the 50. Addison the sit from behind over Portpleasure. Didn't mark. Gilby under pressure at the back. Got it out somewhere near Everett. They haven't trapped it. Edwards comes through. Hand pass Portpleasure. Snap out of the pack. It bounces through. The Crows double up. And they muster some enthusiasm out on the paddock. 9:5:59 the Dogs, 6:40 the Crows. 23 gone of the second term on Grandstand AFL.
He's had his first goal for the year, which is quite incredible. Hasn't been in the game at all for pleasure. Nice snap.
Well, I wrote down here, Shobby, that I just wondered when the Dogs got on such a run for that 15 minutes. I wrote down here we might find something about the Crows. Well, ever since I wrote it down, they kicked 2 goals in 30 seconds. So we are finding out a little bit about them. At least they're fighting back, and that's encouraging.
Well, they've already kicked as many goals tonight as they did for all of last week. Back in the middle with Roughhead winning the ruck duel. Down towards Griffin. He couldn't quite break clear with the footy. It came off his boot. Adelaide now with the footy. Van Berlo hand pass to Knights. Now to Dowdy. The Crows starting to run. Dowdy back to Van Berlo. Now to Cook. Hand pass to McLeod. Can he get past? He can. He's now 50 out. He kicks to the square. Burton nearly taking the mark. Tippett's in the square. He grabs it. He's immediately tackled. Ball in dispute. Harbrow runs away with it for the Bulldogs, and the Doggies are out of trouble. Harbrow kicking towards the City wing. Murphy the target. Edwards goes back with a flight to create a really good contest, but the Bulldogs have still got the ball. Comes towards Roughhead. Hand passes to Cross into the middle. Cutting it off McLeod. Got the half volley. Hand pass to Van Berlo. Missed the target, but he can go back and get it again. Hand pass it back to McLeod.
Now right into the middle of Docklands with Goodwin. His kick is okay. Now to the Docks wing to Dowdy. Spots a man at half forward. It's Cook. He's 65 metres out from goal. He wants to go long. He loads up. Burton has the run at it. Tippett also there. Spoil from Morris. Back of the pack. Tippett still there for the Crows. He can't keep it in. Out of play. Only 5 metres around from the Crows' goals. It is the Bulldogs by 19 points, and we've played 25 minutes gone, second term.
Adelaide have kicked the last two. Thrown in. Tippett to the back. Petrenko is dispossessed. Hard to win. Dangerfield has it for a moment. Took the tackle. Got the kick away. It didn't go very far. Cross scraps in at ground level. Thompson for the Crows. Hand pass cut off by Williams. Through Hahn. Out the back to Eagleton. The Dogs get out. But conspiring to bring them undone is Murphy. He drops the mark. Edwards on the tidy up for Adelaide. To Burton. To Johncock. To Knights. He fumbles. Hand pass back to Marriage. To Thompson, who fumbles. Marriage tries again. And the pressure overwhelms Adelaide. McLeod coughs it up. Griffin's running a loop at centre half back. He got caught by Van Berlo. Fight for the ball at that mark on the ground. It'll be bounced. The Crows trap it at centre half forward. It's the Dogs by 19.
Not long to half-time. Adelaide lifting, and they'll get the ball again. Thompson, hand pass to Cook, still with the Crows. Davis working hard with Edwards. Edwards hand pass back to Davis. Inside 50. Pleasure has taken an unbelievable mark. He was sitting on Harbrow's shoulders and has come down with the mark. He was up there for a week.
Technically a free kick, but
that was Warwick Capper.
I thought I was seeing Warwick Capper. I was just about to say the same thing.
Hands on the shoulders.
You see that in the schoolyard. That is just full-on hands in the shoulders, but I admire the umpire for paying it.
Yeah, well, technically it was a free, but you'd be a brave umpire to take that off him because that was a great leap.
So Jason Paul Pleasure has completed the hard part. Now for the easy part. From the 50, he's missed it to the right. He's possibly won a car, but he's just missed the goal. 27 minutes gone, second term. Bulldogs 9-5, 59. Adelaide 6-5, 41.
I don't reckon there's been a car since 1974 given to the mark of the
It was on Jared Harbrow too, he's about 5'1".
Yeah, all right. He wasn't up that high there.
Kick into Eagleton. Well, he blunders that ball up the wing. McLeod drops the mark, has time to win it back. Hand pass to Johncock, looking for Douglas. Didn't find him, but Edwards continues. Adelaide's thrust. He got caught by Hahn. Cooney, the footy came his way. Hand pass out near Morris. He's overwhelmed by the numbers, though. Douglas spears the ball to Dangerfield. Sideways to Knights. He'll play on from 40 and goal. The Crows have got some momentum again. They string three together and cut the margin to 12. 9-5 plays 7-5 as we approach half-time.
The footy's an amazing thing. When you have a side who's just dominating, they've got control, and all of a sudden, don't know what sparked it, but we've had now 6-7 minutes of great football from Adelaide that's come from out of nowhere, but it's come from this desire to actually get on their bike and run and take some risk with the football, and it's opened the game up and chances appear for them. Good on the Crows.
Well, it was 41 possessions the difference, now only 12, just in that past probably 5 or 6 minutes.
Yep, they've clawed it back.
Marriage and Hudson, what an important last minute this is of the first half. Riley won the clearance, but hand pass is intercepted. Cooney's kick for the Bulldogs to the 50. Murphy got a bad bounce. Oh, but Barry Hall didn't know. Swings it towards goal. Bounces through. Luck's a fortune. Barry Hall's got 3 this quarter. The ball just bounced into his arms. 45, didn't even look at the goals, just sensed the goals and put it through. The Doggies 10-5, 65. Adelaide 7-5, 47.
Always important to win a set of bounce. Put you into attack. Yeah, you're right. Hall was just instinctive, knew where the goals were. A bit of luck the way the ball bounced, but 3 goals in a quarter is a pretty good return from your key forward.
Well, they wouldn't have got those 3 goals last year, and these are the goals that put them 3 goals up. It would be an even game, you'd suggest, if this was last year, but Hall's got them 3 goals exactly in front now.
He's kicked 17 for the season, Barry Hall.
And
He has made a habit of bobbing up at the important moments for them. So the Bulldogs with the quick answer and time for another on a clean break. Hudson follows the ball out of the middle. Hook hacks it up to half forward. Goodwin, though, cuts it off for Adelaide. He means to go direct, but he's overkicked the target in Marriage, and it sits for Cross. Hand pass to Harbrow. Gives it off to Gilby. Plays it high to the wing. Ackermanis! Flies high over Vince and pulls in a hanger of his own. Goes to full forward. Wants Hall against Rutten. From the side comes Douglas. Ball loose against the boundary. Goodwin traps it. Kicks in a hurry. Ackermanis underneath it. Hand pass to Cross. Time will beat him, I reckon. It does. Riley has made head-high contact with Daniel Cross right on the siren.
Well, it won't matter because Cross, on his kicking, I wouldn't think Chris would have a chance, or I'm underestimating him.
I live in Williamstown, and I'll swim to Williamstown after the game if he kicks it.
Something to look forward to. Come on, Daniel Cross. From 52, the kick of a lifetime. He's pulled out the barrel. It's not too bad. It's a metre short.
Gee, we were nearly getting Chris in his togs there.
Well, he was standing up. He rode that one, Chris.
And that's not a pretty sight at the moment.
I was going to say, it's the only time you've ever barracked against the Bulldogs goal.
It's half-time. The Bulldogs 10-5-65 to Adelaide 7-5-47 as Chris Grant nearly tumbled into the rookie mistake of a lifetime. Ackermanis or Paul Pleasure?
Well, Paul Pleasure perhaps, but it was higher.
There was a bit more. You knew Acker was going to take it, didn't he? It was a bit more of a setup. It was nice and.
It was an elegant one-on-one mark.
Legal.
Yes, it gives it a head start. The Dogs by 18, 10-5 to 7-5. The goal kickers, Barry Hall has 3, Mitch Hahn 2, Grant, Higgins, Eagleton, Jan Syracusa and Griffin 1 each. For the Crows, Tippett 2, Vince, Knights, Burton, Dangerfield and Paul Pleasure singles. It's the Bulldogs by 18. It's Grandstand AFL and ABC local radio. Schwabby, just give us a snapshot of your thoughts on the way to the news.
Well, my quick snapshot was Barry Hall dominated that quarter with 3 goals. He opened up their forward line, but the Bulldogs early and for most of the quarter controlled the possession, cut them to pieces with their real precision kicking, speed of the ball and midfield dominance. I had Adelaide down here, worrying signs early, didn't look like scoring, no control of the ball, no fluency, and then bang, fight back near the end of the quarter, took the risk, tried to run, all of a sudden created some opportunities, went in at half-time with a little bit of confidence that if we play that style of play, which we have to, that'll give us some chance in the second half. But doggies look okay, and I would expect in the second half they'll be just a fraction, maybe a bit more than a fraction too good for Adelaide.
Half-time Friday night footy. The Western Bulldogs 10-5-65 lead Adelaide 7-5-47. Full thoughts from Peter Schwab and Chris Grant soon, but right now the latest from the ABC newsroom with Peter Carline.
Thanks, Jared. The Melbourne Storm's assistant coach says the club's punishment for breaching the salary cap has devastated the players. Mark Hydes reports major sponsors are also deserting the club.
The Storm's players started the week as premiers and one of the favourites for this year's title. They've been stripped of their premiership and will claim this season's wooden spoon after the NRL found the club had been rorting the salary cap. Front row coach Robbie Kearns says the news has shocked the players.
The organisation's pretty shattered at the moment, and everyone's, I suppose, in disbelief at the moment. So hopefully within the next few days we'll know where we're at.
The Storm has lost 3 major sponsors today and concedes some of its players will have to find new clubs. The Storm's former CEO, Brian Waldron, today resigned from his position as Chief Executive of the Melbourne Rebels Super 14 rugby union franchise.
Brian Waldron was also the former chief executive of the St Kilda Football Club from 2002 to 2004. The AFL has now indicated it may review the club's books from those years. North Melbourne has also become embroiled in the saga. The Kangaroos' chief financial officer, Cameron Vale, previously worked for the Storm. He issued a press release this afternoon saying he never engaged in any fraudulent behaviour at his former club. The Treasurer, Wayne Swan, will announce the government's response response to the Henry tax review in a little over a week. The report by the head of the Federal Treasury, Ken Henry, will be released at the same time. It's expected to recommend simplifying tax returns so that people could do without accountants. Mr Swan says all taxes have been reviewed as part of the process, with the exception of the GST. The Shadow Treasurer, Joe Hockey, says the government is trying to stifle debate on the taxation review by releasing it a week before the May budget. He says that's a sign the government has a plan for higher taxes.
The closer you release a document before the budget, the less debate you are going to have on that document, and given that it's more than 1,000 pages with a 500-page response from the government, there is very little time to identify the real impacts of the Henry Review and the government's proposals on tax.
Flu vaccinations for children have been suspended nationwide after dozens of adverse reactions, mainly in Western Australia. Angelique Johnson reports.
23 Western Australian children who've had the vaccine in the past few weeks have suffered fever, vomiting and febrile convulsions. At least one child is in a critical condition. South Australia's Chief Medical Officer, Professor Paddy Phillips, says it's rare for a vaccine to cause such a reaction.
Clearly there's a suspicion, and that's why we're playing it safe and suspending the vaccine for 5 and unders.
Lindy Miller says her 4.5-year-old son, Raphael, got a severe fever soon after having the vaccine.
I mean, every now and then we sort of have the odd fever, but or a bit of a cold, but it just seemed a little bit too much of a coincidence.
Another 40 possible cases are being investigated in Western Australia.
The chairman of the troubled Tasmanian timber company, Guns, John Gay, is standing down to focus on a new pulp mill business. Jackie Street reports.
In a highly anticipated announcement to the stock exchange, Mr Gay said he would stand down as the Guns chief before November to become chairman of a new company, Southern Star Corporation. The company is being set up to focus on the $2.5 billion Tamar Valley pulp mill proposal and would manage Guns plantations and land. The former Liberal Premier, Robin Gray, has also announced his retirement from the Guns board, but says he'll continue to be a director for Guns Plantations. Under the massive company shake-up, Guns has put a number of its businesses up for sale, including the Tamar Valley Winery and Construction Company. Guns Tasmanian directors have been under pressure since the company posted a 98% drop in its half-yearly profit.
An elderly West Australian couple have told how they twice waved to a rescue helicopter while lost in bushland in Tasmania's northeast. John and Verity Campbell from Donnybrook spent more than 24 hours in wet and rugged conditions before a local farmer found them this afternoon. The couple lost their bearings late last night on the trail of the Tin Dragon. 78-year-old John Campbell says they were aware of the air search.
Verity says, hey, listen, there's a chopper. And it came along. We were waving madly and everything. Just kept on going. And a little while later, it came back and we waved. No, still no, because he's up there high.
And the Prime Minister, Kevin Rudd, has warned Australians about the dangerous and explosive situation in Thailand. The government has increased the level of its travel advice about Thailand, warning Australians to reconsider their need to visit the country. ABC News.
Dig into the minds of some of the ABC's finest journalists at abc.net.au/The Drum. It's a new website featuring thoughtful and thought-provoking analysis from a range of ABC personalities. They're taking the stick to what's making and breaking in the news, and so can you. The latest analysis and commentary as it happens. Check out what's making the loudest noise at The Drum. abc.net.au/The Drum.
Grandstand AFL.
Paul going back with a fight against Rutton. Paul marks, plays on and kicks the goal.
Inside the 50, Johnson marks on the lead. Hans rushing to the goal square. He'll mark, play on and send it home.
Now to Dangerfield. Can he get away from Grant? Not quite, he can't. But then breaks the tackle, takes a bounce, gets away from one, gets away from two and kicks the goal. One of the best goals you'll ever see. Edwards hand pass back to Davis. Inside 50. Pleasure has taken an unbelievable mark.
Douglas spears the ball to Dangerfield. Sideways to Knights. He'll play on from 40 and goal.
Murphy got a bad bounce. Oh, but Barry Hall didn't know. Swings it towards goal. Bounces through.
AFL on ABC Local Radio.
She was a fair old quarter the second term, and at half-time the Bulldogs with an 18-point lead in the contest over the Crows. Other scores tonight in the NRL, second half action, the Bulldogs 14 lead, the Broncos 6, North Queensland 18 lead, Parramatta 12. And in the Super 14's 56th minute, the Reds 16 lead the Stormers 10. Peter Schwab, you gave us a snapshot. Chris Grant, tell us what you think to this point.
Look, it was really played almost in spurts for both teams. I mean, the first 15 minutes of that second quarter, really, the Bulldogs controlled everything. At one stage, Paul Cortis, the Dogs had 40 more possessions, and that was about the 20-minute mark of the first quarter. So that's a lot more ball. And you called it, Schwabby, that they really were controlling how the game was being played. Julian Syracuse has been outstanding. It's not just the weight of numbers. He's had 22 possessions. It's not just how many he's had. It's really the way and the what he's actually done with it. And I'd be very surprised if he's not involved in almost all of their scoring goal opportunities at this stage. He's the dominant player on the ground. Johnson's had a lot of the ball, but really he's been a little bit scrappy in the first quarter and probably came into a little bit more in the second quarter. I was really impressed the fact that Adelaide did come back. I think that's a real confidence booster for them, and sometimes when you're playing interstate, you need a moment in the game to really give you a kick start, and I think we all thought at that 15-minute mark that really, gee, this could blow out to a 10-goal quarter here. But to Adelaide's credit, and I would pinpoint the Dangerfield running goal, because when you're away from home, you've got a small supporter base, you haven't been in great form as a team, the tide's against you, and that really kick-started their confidence, and really they had 3 goals in a short space of time. In 4 minutes they had 3 goals, so that was a really good fight back for them. Been some real highlights. Dangerfield's goal, Paul Pleasure's mark out of the centre, and then Ackermanis's mark just in front of us here in the commentary box. So there's been some real highlights. That's great for the crowd. It's great for us. We all love footy, and we all love those types of highlights. Look, Barry Hall was the dominant forward, and he really is, look, the last goal he scored, it was probably an opportunistic goal, but he's got to be in the right spot. He's got to be able to read the play. He's got to be able to read how the ball is going to bounce, and he read it a little bit better than Rutten did. So he's been the standout forward, I would suggest. He's really the difference on the scoreboard, as far as I'd say. And as I made a point with the quarter almost finished, that it's 3 goals. It's 3 goals difference in the Bulldogs' favour. Probably wouldn't be 3 goals different this time last year. So this is the area that the Dogs have really been able to capitalise with the injection of a player like Barry Hall. So look, it's evenly poised as far as it's only 3 goals apart. I think Adelaide, what they need to do, I wrote down here, the leg speed of the Bulldogs and players like Cooney and Griffin and Higgins, they're quick. They're all super quick players compared to the Adelaide midfielders of Riley, Van Berlo and Knights. They're not slow, but they're not super quick, and they've got Edwards and Goodwin also going through there. They're older players. You can't expect them to have terrific leg speed, but what they did well, I thought, Schwabby, was they were able to actually use the ball and spread a little bit better again. They just didn't look like they were doing that first 15 minutes of that quarter, and once they started to spread again, what they're going to have to do is be very, very sharp with their hands, use their feet incredibly well, but spread away from the pack and actually open space up. That doesn't require leg speed to do that. It just requires thought, and they thought their way through it probably in the last 5 or 10 minutes of that quarter.
Yeah, well, Adelaide, by the way they play, they're a handballing side, and the Bulldogs are smashing them when it comes to kicking the football. I mean, I'm just looking through the statistics, and they've had 40 more effective kicks than Adelaide. And that's a real difference in the style of the side, and in the uncontested marking situation for the Bulldogs is high because of the way they play. Contested possession's about even, which, you know, when you watch a contest, I don't necessarily see the Bulldogs dominating when the ball's in the tight positions. I see them dominating once they get free of that. I think Jared caught a really good one in the middle, five or so contests, and then finally it gets out of there, and the team that hurts them on the way through is the Bulldogs. They're much better at what you said, spreading away from the contest, but they're a much better and accurate kicking side, and they've hurt them in that regard. Inside 50s are about square. Centre clearances are in Bulldogs' favour. I always think there's an advantage in getting to centre clearance because there isn't a chance to flood back as much, so the forward line's always a bit open and something can happen, and it did when Hall kicked that goal. I don't know whether I'm clouded, but I go through the Adelaide side. I can't quite find, a really good player for Adelaide. I think there's been some solid performances, but they haven't got many players who are really on top in their position or in general play. Tippett, we spoke about, who was dominant. He couldn't have touched the ball in that quarter, so he's still on 2 kicks for 2 goals for the game. Pleasure came into it, who I thought, they would have been disappointed with his output up until that second quarter where he got into the play. Dangerfield, one exciting dash, I guess. He looks dangerous, Dangerfield, but he hasn't had a lot of the footy. Van Berlo's had a job. He's more a shutdown role in the midfield, which I wonder about because I thought he was a little bit more than that. Rutten's got his work cut out, as you said, with Barry Hall. Hall clearly the dominant forward. And you've got Hall and Hahn, 5 goals between them. I've been noting down who's flowed through the forward line, so it's interesting to know how often players play up there. Adelaide have had, I think, about 8, and the Bulldogs have run through Grant, Hall, Murphy, Hahn. Roughhead went there for a while. Johnson, Higgins, Soon, Syracuse, Akamanis. There's a nice flow through of players into your forward half. Lake hurt himself, I thought, in that contest. I was a little bit more worried about him when he was taking a while, but he, hopefully he's okay. They certainly need him. I thought he bounced back, had a reasonable second quarter. I don't know, you always think from Adelaide's point of view, I'm trying to look through that list and find a spark and think, well, how can we win the game? What can we do here that's a little bit different? And all I can come up with is what happened at that end of the second quarter, where there was a mindset, for whatever reason, to all of a sudden take some chances, take some risks, run and carry, if need be, kick the ball in a bit longer. And they got a bit of a run on. Might be an aberration, really.
Paul Callery, some of the numbers to half-time. It's the Dogs by 18.
Yes, Jared, and as Peter said, 220 possessions to 202, so that's 18 more to the Dogs, but 38 more kicks to the Dogs, 20 more handballs to the Crows, but 22 marks in advantage to the Dogs as well, doing very well. Effective knockouts, 49 apiece. That's all around the ground as well. Centre clearances 11-6. Inside 50s, 25-23, and free 7-6. But when you look at the major stat winners, Jared, June Syracuse with 22 possessions, 83 Dream Team points, doing very nicely. Brad Johnson with 17 touches and 61 points. And then a lot of players with 13 and 40. Brody Moles, terrific with 13. Gilby with 13. Cooney 14. Cross 13. Griffin 16. And Tommy Williams 12. A lot of players amassing quite a few possessions. On the other side for the Crows, Scott Thompson's had 13. Tyson Head with 14. John Cock 14. Davis 12. McLeod worked his way into a little bit with 13. And Mike Cook, a good player, with 11 possessions and 51 Dream Team points.
And just talking about Dream Team points, you were talking before, Brad Johnson 61, Mitch Hahn 68.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Gene Syracuse 83 for the Doggies. For the Crows, we've got Cook on 51, Marich on 52. They're the only two to get over 50 for Adelaide at this stage. Just on Ryan Griffin, Chris, I'm sure you would have spent a lot of time watching him play as a footballer. Everyone's waiting for him to possibly become the absolute elite. The last 2 weeks he's been averaging 30 disposals. He's had 16 to half-time this week, and some of the most damaging disposals of anyone on the field tonight. It just looks like he's possibly taking that footy to another level.
Look, he has what the thing that's really important for him is that when he doesn't run and carry the footy, he's half the player. He's extremely good at being able to break away packs from packs. Well, he and Cooney are one of the best, or a couple of the best that I've seen at being able to just go from a standing start to their top speed very, very quickly. You're right. We've analysed Gene Syracuse a lot. Johnson's been pretty good. We've analysed a lot of the Adelaide team. But really, you're probably right. He's had a pretty super half, hasn't he?
It's just, if he gets 16, they're probably more damaging than any other 16.
Well, it's also his run, because he actually finds more space, because he'll run and carry it, 20 metres.
Kelly Underwood's watching it from the front row.
Yeah, look, Jared, no major injury concerns for that first half, but Patrick Dangerfield certainly isn't 100%. He came off very groggy after he collided with the goalpost in that opening quarter. And let's not forget, he did spend a night in Epworth Hospital about 10 nights ago after that sickening neck injury that he suffered at the MCG against Melbourne 2 weeks ago. But he's tough. He came on and he kicked that fantastic goal. And I've got to say, the bench down here, I'm sitting probably only a few metres away from the Crows bench, been really lifeless, been really quiet. But when Dangerfield kicked that goal, the assistant coach, Mark Bickley, is just sitting in the back bunker here. He really got stuck into the 4 interchange players and really trying to rev them up and get them involved in this contest.
Yeah, it felt like they were trying to manufacture their enthusiasm.
Yeah, I was going to ask Kelly that what the feeling is that when she's down there on the bench about Adelaide. Is there some exuberance, or is it just hard work for them?
Quiet. Paul Pleasure and Tippett have spent a lot of time rotating, coming on and off, and there hasn't been much talk between the players whatsoever.
Second half of Friday night footy. It's the Dogs by 18. The Crows with a mountain to climb. Adam White.
It's underway with Hudson winning the tap to Cooney. He's hurried kick towards half forward. Brad Johnson has to beat Sue.
Free kick.
He's going to get a free kick for being held out of the contest.
Yeah, blocked by McLeod. Yeah.
He'll get the footy now and he'll go inside 50. Murphy the target. Thompson gets one high as Murphy came through. Thompson spoilt the mark from Murphy, but Murphy did collect Thompson in the head, and he'll get the free kick at defensive 50. Took a while for the ball to get back to him, so now it's a crowded midfield. So Thompson will have to come out wide to the wing. Burton, the target, is in front of Morris. Couldn't take the mark. Gene Syracuse sharked it from the front. He got the hand pass to Griffin, who kicks a spearing ball to Murphy. 60 out. Murphy kicks to the top of the square. Ackermanis elected to Shepherd. The ball's now in the square, in dispute. John Cock first there. Hand pass over the top to McLeod. He's got about 5 metres from Acker, so he can load it up and get to defensive 50 to Henderson. Hand pass to Thompson. Thompson gives it straight up by hand to Hudson. Now to Gilby. 40 out. Gilby spears a ball to about 45 metres, and Eagleton takes the mark on a 45-degree angle. So really it was a squaring ball from Gilby more than anything else.
Well, it wasn't a great handball by Marriage, but then he would have been better to give the free kick away for holding the ball, Thompson, except he coughed it up straight away.
So Nathan Eagleton to get the first goal of the second half. He won't with that kick. It's a bad hook. In fact, it only just made the distance through for a minus score. So the Western Bulldogs 10-6-66, Adelaide 7-5-47.
Goodwin to kick in for the Crows. Very short to Doughty. He's been directed to kick it on. Not a lot straight. He brings it out wide to McLeod. John Cook offers himself. It's going to be a hand pass to the defensive 50. Hall comes at him. He does make contact even though the ball is gone. Douglas brings it out to Vince. Hand pass back to John Cook. This is labour intensive. They're stuck at half back. Knights and Rutten almost lost it. Douglas wins it back. Hand pass to Vince. Up now to Riley. Getting caught with it is Van Berlo. John Cook fights on. The tackles are everywhere. Eagleton barrels into Douglas. Tackles him to a halt. It'll be bounced on the broadcast wing.
So symptomatic of the way they play. It's over handball and they continually put each other under the pump.
Marriage to go up against Hudson here. Hudson grabs it out of the ruck and hoofs it towards centre half forward on his left foot. Ackermanis got there on the bounce, then was tackled there by Davis. McLeod flicks out a hand pass on his backside to Doughty. Hand pass to Davis. Davis wide to Paul Pleasure. He marks on the run on the city wing. Caught on his left foot. Kick out towards Tippett on a searching lead. He can't get there because it goes over for a boundary throw-in. 60 metres out from Adelaide's goal, left half forward. 3 minutes gone in the third term. It's the Bulldogs by 19 points. Throw-in takes place. Tippett wins the tap for the Crows to the front of the pack. Riley hand pass. Quick kick inside 50. Nearly a mark taken there. Down low by Dangerfield, but strength of numbers, the Doggies can clear. Out comes Everett towards Grant. Dropped the mark, but got the hand pass back to Everett, who was coming through with support. Williams also there. Everett again, hand pass towards Morris. Back to Everett. Everett favourites. Long kick. Murphy in front. Can he take the mark? No doubt. His spoil was really good. Good one close to the boundary. It goes over between wing and half forward out on the city side of the ground.
66 plays 47. The Dogs lead. Friday night footy here on Grandstand AFL. Marriage and Hudson. The Bulldogs ruckman at the back wins the tap, looking for Cross, shovels it out, cut off by Douglas, missed his target with the hand pass. John Cock has to retrieve it. It comes the way of Thompson. Now to Burton, across half back he goes. Rutten will mark and run through the defensive 50. Pulls up, sold them into trouble. The kick's a floater. It's punched away by Jared Grant and out of play. Between the wing and left half forward for the Dogs. Throw in. Give the tap to Marriage, but the footy to Higgins for the Dogs. Hand pass to Eagleton, to Cooney. Kicks to half forward. Murphy might have flown as a decoy. Ackermanis punches it clear. Everett the hand pass. No way through. Riley repels. Hand pass to Thompson. Set up Petrenko. Didn't take possession. Knocked it instead to Dangerfield. Got Cannon into. Went to ground. Got up still with the footy. Riley's kick is very short. Into the congestion. Morris cuts it off. Gives it to Moles. Spies Higgins, feeds it to Addison, kicks inside the 50. Eagleton, so often alone, unattended, runs in, open goal. The Dogs lead by 25. He's the most alone man in football, Nathan Eagleton. 11-6-72 to the Crows, 7-5-47.
Well, why is he? Because he runs harder, or he takes the risk to get forward of the football? But regardless of that, the difference was we get this handball situation from Adelaide where it's 5 or 6, whereas the Bulldogs will go 1-2 and then it's a piercing kick. Fundamental difference in the way they play. The Adelaide's over handball the football, and they never look beyond what's immediately around them or in front of them to see if there's a further option down the field. It's a flawed game plan at the moment.
There's players out too, Schwabby. That's the thing. There's players out, but they don't look past
They're
that.
They're too close, Chris. Yep. You know, the mindset's not broadening.
Hudson and Marriage. Hudson convincingly wins the tap. Thompson, though, cleans up. Hand pass to Davis. Back to Thompson. Now to Dowdy, all by hand. Dowdy hand passes to Thompson, and they're going backwards. Thompson, another hand pass to McLeod. He kicks wide to the back pocket, and John Cock takes the mark. They've had possession since the middle, but they're now in the back pocket. John Cock short pass to Edwards, who marks at defensive 50. He goes further forward to Schmidt, but they're still defensive side of the wing. He'll look further forward. Riley's offering a short pass. He goes in that direction, and Riley takes the mark. Still defensive side of the wing, though. No real run here for Riley. He's just going to have to kick it long down the line. Vince has the run at it. Goes up, can't take the mark. In front, Hahn. Hand pass. He was tackled by Cook. Ball jars free and goes out of bounds. Now just forward of the wing now for the Crows as they attack down the Coventry end in this third term.
Dogs by 25. Hudson wins front position this time. He palms the ball to the front for Hahn. Defensive hand pass to Ackermanis. The kick forward is no good. It's going to bounce into the clutches of John Cock. It took a bit of a bounce away from him, actually. Gives Hall a play. Oh, Rutten got the fumbles when Hall was bearing down. The full forward gives the hand pass to Hahn. He kicks inside the 50. Roughhead with the flight. Davis made the spoil. There was nothing legal about it. It's going to be Roughhead's free kick, close to goal.
Well done by the big fella. Well done by Barry Hall before, and not too well done by Rutten.
You can understand why Rutten's a little shaky. Remember what Barry Hall did in his last game as a Sydney Swan?
That's a long time ago, Adam. Come on, be fair. He hasn't done that at all.
Year.
It wasn't a great effort from John Cock either, because Barry was still a couple of metres away and he just coughed it up, didn't he?
Well done by the young kid. I hope he finishes with a goal.
Jordan Roughhead looking for his first in the AFL. He's on the angle. He split the middle and he loved it. He trots away, punching his fist. He's got a taste of AFL and he likes it. 12-6-78 the Dogs. Adelaide 7-5-47. Nearly 9 minutes gone of the third.
Well, this is where he'll play in the future, Jared. He'll play in the ruck and he'll play down forward. He's got beautiful hands, and he's a beautiful kick of the ball. That kick was an example of that. But the Dogs are really hoping that he's going to be able to play out of the goal square as much as he plays in the ruck. He's got a basketball background, but he equally played football as well. So he hasn't just come from basketball. He's got a good head on his shoulders, and it's a terrific kid, fantastic kid, seen to be as a future leader of the club. So good kick.
Bounce in the middle again. Marich does win it on this occasion. Spikes at 20 metres Adelaide's way, but as always, cross bottom of the pack. Got the hand pass out, and the Doggies are out of trouble. Everett kicked it on his left foot, and then he has to go back and try and get it himself, and does. He almost got collected, but he won the hard footy. Hand pass to Addison. A little scrubby hand pass, but it's okay. Higgins. Hand passes back to Williams. They settle things down. Williams short pass defensively to Lake. Oh, Lake's kick round the body was an absolute howler, but Douglas got a bad bounce and they can get out of trouble, the Dogs. Hahn's high kick to the middle. Moles takes the mark and runs on. There's that man all alone again, Eagleton, 70 metres out, onto his left, long kick, chance for Roughhead, mark to Roughhead. He was caught behind, but he got one mitt to it and then clasped it with both hands on the second attempt. Well done, Jordan Roughhead.
Well, I tell you what, Chris, if this is a sign of what he can do, this is a great bonus for the Bulldogs to have a player of his size to go forward.
He's on debut, and he's lining up for goal number 2 in the space of just 3 minutes. 20 metres out, straight in front. Oh, no, he's missed it. The big build-up. Everyone's getting excited. The Bulldogs have found a key forward, and he shanks it to the right. The Bulldogs at 12-7-79, Adelaide 7-5-47. 11 minutes gone in the third term.
Kelly Underwood.
Yes, well, Roughhead's been dominating down there. Barry Hall comes off for a breather. Some concerns with Daniel G and Syracuse. He came off, went straight down into the rooms with the medical staff, just doing a couple of run-throughs at the moment.
Goodwin and Johncock out of defence. Tippett, the contested mark, was a good one on the wing. He plays on quickly. Dangerfield, who knows no fear. He went with the flight, got hit by Lake. The ball is gathered in by Gilby. Kicks up to half-back. Everett distributes the ball onto Harbrow. Kicks to Eagleton in space. Where else would he be? Inside the 50. That is some sort of rapier ball right onto the breastbone of Hahn.
Right, I'm going to watch Eagleton for a while and to see how he does get forward, okay?
And maybe someone in the Adelaide box could do the same.
Yes, I'll relate to them after the game what I observed.
Mitch Hahn skips his way to the 50, sends it at goal. It's right all the way. And the lead is 33 points the Dogs' way.
Well, just before this play starts again, Whitey, I know Adelaide didn't have a shot at goal. It was a Dog shot on goal, but I'll tell you what, Patrick Dangerfield is growing by every game he plays with his courage. It's super effort back down here.
It was incredible, wasn't it? The Crows have worked it to half-back with Goodwin. Long kick out wide, and Henderson takes the mark for the Crows. So just forward of the wing. He'll kick it long inside 50. He wants Burton, and Burton jumps up and takes the mark. Good grab. About 45 out in the left forward pocket. Mike Kelly, what do you think of Kurt Tippett at the moment? He just seemed to come off the ground limping before.
Yeah, he has been limping, Adam. You're right there. He's clutching the right knee. He's just sat down next to me. He looks to be in some sort of pain. I know he has been struggling with a bit of knee tendonitis, and Knights is down in the rooms as well. So the bench temporarily down to 3 here for the Crows, and certainly G and Syracuse not looking too flash at the Bulldogs bench either. So suddenly it's all happening down here, Adam. I'll keep an eye on it.
Brett Burton leans back on that. It won't be a goal off hands through for a rush behind. Just that Kurt Tippett injury happened when he took that contested mark before, so a little bit of a concern. 13 minutes gone, third term. The Bulldogs 80, Adelaide 48.
Kick in, finds Cross, brings it out to the left for Eagleton. How to get there, Schwalbe? Kicks up the line, bouncing ball, skids away from Murphy, out of play.
Not so much there, it's at the other end.
Yes. This is at the interchange gates. Tippett called back into action. Marriage for a breather. Tippett straight into the ruck. Roughhead has come away from the forward line to be competing. Neither ruckman made much of it. Edwards at ground level. Got it out to Riley. made a bit of a mess of it, but still coming as Tippett. Goodwin fires the hands to Schmidt. Over it goes to Thompson. Forward inside the 50. Van Berlo needs to create. Has it. Turns himself goalward. Got a good kick on it. Right to the line. Touched. A metre inside the field of play, but it's not going to be a score. Morris was paid the free kick against Burton, and the Dogs play on quickly. Gilbert brings it out to Ackermanis. 50 away from the defensive goal.
Ackermanis transfers play back to the goal square, and Griffin has the mark. He plays on, gets a good shepherd, and home passes over the top to Gilby. Plenty of time. Long kick to the middle. Grant couldn't take the mark off hands. Addison, he lost control of it when he was in space. Could be a turnover. No, the ball's locked up. Will have a bounce inside the centre square. Addison couldn't believe his luck. He had the ball in space, then just lost control of it. So now we'll have a big pack of players around this contest. Tippett in the ruck. Over the top there was Cross. Flick of hands, and it comes to Douglas. High kick to the 50. Burton caught out of position, but he got pushed in the back by Morris, and Burton will take the free kick at the 50. Morris complaining. Schwabby, Chris Grant, was it there?
I thought it was, looking at it.
It was there, Schwabby, yeah.
Just seemed to bring Morris under the footy a bit, didn't he? It was a strange one.
Almost a tunnel there, Whitey.
Yeah, no, it's a free kick.
Now, Brett Burton will kick from about 50. If last kick's any indication, he's no chance, because he leant right back and couldn't get the distance from 45. How does he go this time? It's another high kick. I reckon it's a goal. It is.
Good.
He certainly kicked through that one a lot better and just keeps the Crows in touch. 8-6-54. The Bulldogs 12-8-80. 15 and a half minutes gone third term. And that is Brett Burton's second goal.
Yeah, well, it hasn't been their worst. He's lively as always, but the opportunities have been a bit limited. Just no spark in the midfield. You want to look at Adelaide at the moment. Van Berlo's sort of more in a shutdown role. Thompson's been okay. Edwards might have had the ball, but no influence. Cook on this wing, just had a bit of the ball, but no influence. There's no spark there that's going to break the game for them.
Kelly?
And Syracusa appears to be okay. He's back on the ground, Jared, and the Crows bench down here, they're confused. There's bickering. They're not happy at all.
Dogs by 26. Tippett wins the tap. What's on the follow-up, though? Van Berlo got caught with the footy by Cross. And holding the ball is paid against Van Berlo. It's not completely outside the realm. It does seem a bit harsh. He hand passed to Cooney, who was hot. Cross mucked that up. Petrenko's up to knock the Crows forward. Paddled on by Henderson. Runs onto the ball. Can't break clear, but there's a free kick. It's Dangerfield.
Yeah, late call by the umpire, I thought. I thought there was a push there, but I don't know why he called it so late.
Patrick Dangerfield was well named because he's regularly in danger out on the field. He held your breath as he went with the flight of the ball, late bearing down about 6 or 7 minutes ago. Smashed into the post tonight while watching the ball. Now he has a shot at goal from centre half forward, ensuring he's got his wits about him. Dangerfield, front line of the centre square, gives it all he's got, and it's a lot. It gets away late. He hooks it, and it is a behind. 25 points, the Bulldogs lead. Probably just beyond halfway of the third.
Harbrow to kick it back into play for the Doggies. I reckon he was over the line then when he kicked it. Anyway, good mark. Douglas floating in from the side for the Crows. But he kicks into the man on the mark, which was Williams. Vince cleans up, though, for the Crows, so Adelaide still has it. Back to Douglas by hand, now to Thompson. Hand pass defensively to Douglas. Now to Schmidt. They're going backwards again, the Crows. Schmidt's hand pass was forward to Thompson. Inside 50. Kurt Tippett got two hands to it. Couldn't take the mark. Now a contest at ground level. Adelaide wanting a free kick for holding the ball. What does the umpire say? No, I'll bounce it.
You know why Kurt Tippett didn't hold it? Because Brett Burton crashed into him again. Sometimes Burton's just got to realise where his teammate is in relation to the ball.
Now we've got a blood rule. Now, who is it? I think it might be Brett Burton, is it? Yeah, it is. He has to come off.
Kurt Tippett said good.
So Brett Burton comes off.
Was it Tippett or was it Marriage? No, it was Tippett.
18 and a half minutes gone in the third term. It's the Bulldogs 12-8-80. Adelaide 8-7-55 as Burton comes off. Kelly, you've got a good view of it. Where's the blood? I can't see it.
Oh, I can't see it either. And he's just pulled down his sock to reveal the smallest trickle of blood you've ever seen on his left knee. Just having word down here that it might, Gian Syracuse's injury concern might be his ribs. So he did go down into the rooms, was down there for 10 minutes or so, a couple of run-throughs, and he's back out on the ground.
Bounce of the footy. It's Lake that wins the tap down towards Cooney. Lost control of it. Oh, Dangerfield, a hurried shot at goal. Just misses to the right-hand side and through for a minor score. Adelaide 8-8-56. The Bulldogs 12-8-80. 19 and a half gone third term.
They've put a few scores together, but only one of them has been a goal. 1-3 on end. The kick in finds Gilby, who's loose with his kick across the face of goal. Griffin, though, is able to burst through and make it better than it was. His kick, though, is poor. He's picked out the nest of Crows. Davis marks, kicks it into the middle to Doughty. There's nothing instinctive about what they do, though.
He should have gone as soon as he marked it. His first instinct was to go back.
High and long inside the 50. Griffin is able to make the spoil on Van Burlo, who was the target, and then win the ball. He releases Eagleton. Hand pass to Gian Syracusa. Trapped. Backward he goes to Johnson. Sideways with a kick to Gilby. Not without risk. Hand pass to Morris. Now to Ackermanis. Now they're just about through. Murphy works it around to Morris. No, he got caught with it. Thompson came at him. Broke it free for Knights. Long range shot to a vacant goal square. It bounces and Lake puts his hands on it right on the line. Saves the goal. And the margin is 23 points.
Lake short to Williams. Now out close to the boundary with a 30-metre pass. And Brad Johnson takes the mark. I think when Knights is within 90 from goal, you'll have a shot.
Yeah.
Brad Johnson will kick towards the City wing. Doughty up with a spoil. Oh, well read Griffin coming through.
Oh, yes.
And a lovely kick inside 50 to Hall, who marks all alone. He plays on. He kicks the goal. He's got 4, but Ryan Griffin take a bow. That was just sensational from the Bulldogs. Griffin's pass, beautiful. 21 gone third term. Bulldogs 13-8-86. Adelaide 8-9-57.
Perfect training drill. Front the square. You know, the kick, was it kicking or was it long kick from the fence? Doughty punched it. Griffin, beautiful. This is where Griffin's such a good player because of the thing, he gets speed and depth with his kicking, but he gets speed through the ground, so he covers the ground quickly, adds his 20 metres, and then he's kicked at 50, 60 and hit Hall on the chest, and good night.
29 points, the Bulldogs lead. Peter Schwab and Chris Grant watching it on Grandstand AFL. Slapped into the turf in the middle. Marich waits underneath, wins the tap. Griffin was over the ball, almost a push, not quite. Cooney gets in on the act with a hand pass near Ackermanis. John Cock knocks him off the footy. Coming through to offer support is Goodwin. He goes back with a hand pass to Cook. Sideways he goes to Vince. All backwards, dangerous. Murphy tackles Edwards. He gets the hand pass away. Comes through Goodwin. Back out to Vince. Tumbles the ball up the wing. Harbrow is able to win it away from Douglas for the Dogs. Spears the ball up to Griffin. Sideways, good ball. Moles, probably not his. Went sideways and pulled it in. Runs away now. Sets it to an open goal front. If it bounces end over end, it'll score and hits the posts. Didn't give the defence a look. The Dogs by 5 goals next.
Rutten kicks it in quickly to Goodwin at the 50. Squaring ball, a little dangerous, but Vince takes the mark in front of Cooney. He goes directly into the corridor with a short pass to Edwards. But again, they're still inside defensive 50. Edwards short to Doughty. It's not a great kick. Doughty has to work for it, but he takes it. And Doughty now will kick to the wing to John Cock on a lead, who marks in front of Barry Hall. Just defensive side of the wing, John Cock, though. Hasn't got a lot of options further forward. Porplesia offers a lead. Now Riley. He goes to Riley, who marks out in front, right in front of the interchange gates. But this is another passive build-up from the Crows. Short from Riley to Porplesia. They're still at the wing.
Just needs more movement from players forward of him, and he's getting about 1 or 2 leads.
This is a short one to Cook. It bounced off his chest, but he got it at the second attempt. So this really is very patient from the Crows. Cook shaped to go backwards. Now he's just going to bomb it long. One for the high flyers. Burton elects to go front and centre. Back of the pack, here's a chance. Henderson, can he pick it up? No, he can't. If he picked it up, it was going to be an Adelaide goal to either Dangerfield or Vince, who were just waiting in the square. But he couldn't pick it up, and it went out of bounds. 24 gone. Third term, Bulldogs by 5 goals.
Pushing deep forward, the Crows. Hudson uncontested at the boundary throw in. Hand pass for Cooney. Actually didn't find him, and it's back out of play. So it's 5 metres around from the behind post. Second throw in. Surely the Crows will have somebody to contest this time. It's going to be Burton. It's a short throw, and it's sort of favoured where the Crows had set up. They're not able to make anything of it at the first. And then a scrimmage toward the boundary. Burton is bowled over. He took a little bit of exception to the treatment from Cooney. No adjudication required from the umpire. And they'll try again. Allowed 25 out from the Crows goal. Plenty up. Coming through is Addison this time for the Dogs. He kicks into the middle. Hall needs to make a contest. Did reasonably against Davis, but the Crow defender has time. Hand pass to Goodwin, to Doughty, back to Davis. Doughty on the follow-up. Hand passes up to the 50. Vince Van Burlow's trying to shake the tacklers. He can't. He coughed it up. Moles, hand pass to Eagleton. The Dogs look for the way out. Grant to Higgins. It's open ahead. Murphy's the man. He'll mark it half forward and then waits. He needs a runner. He flares the ball outright. Jan Syracuse gets there. Chips it up for Hall. A little too dainty. Hall makes it good though. First he tipped it away from John Cook, who seemed to have it covered. And second he clunked the footing.
Well, my observation is John Cook was pretty ordinary there. Maybe the kick was so good. I'll give him the benefit.
It's pensioners' night at Docklands. There are 10 30-year-olds. Barry Hall is the oldest of them at 33. He's kicking for his 5th. He misses. He drags it across the face. Well, that's relative to football because they're all younger than most of us.
Is that why there was all those footballers on the tram? They got the seniors card.
Yeah, correct. 5 on each side.
It's his first miss, Barry Hall. 4 goals, 1. As Goodwin goes in short to Bernie Vince in the back pocket. But again, this lifeless lack of run. You'd think if they're going to win, they need a goal before three-quarter time.
Well,
and Vince has gone across the goal face, missed the target. Bulldogs ball, chance for Hahn around the body, back to Barry Hall, who takes the marker at the top of the square, plays on, nonchalantly kicks the goal, his 5th. And that might just be about it, even though we're still in the third term. The Bulldogs 14-10-94, Adelaide 8-9-57, and that's just systematic of how they've been.
Well, they're stuck in the pocket, they're looking for some movement, they try and change direction, they turn it over in the other back pocket, and a little element of luck in some ways that Hahn got pushed on his kick because he was actually going for goal. And it landed in Barry's hand, and he said, thanks, I'll have number 5.
Barry Hall was actually commiserating himself after missing the last shot. He was standing in the goal square, couldn't believe he'd missed it. And the ball actually hit him. It actually fell into his hands.
Yeah, well, sometimes you've played forward enough, Chris. Sometimes forwards need a bit of luck too, don't they?
Yeah, and he got it that time.
There's 7 or 8 on offer for Hall tonight if he can really cash in here. It's a 37-point advantage to the Bulldogs. There's a free kick in the middle. The advantage is paid. Ackermanis hand pass to Eagleton. He trots up to the wing. He delivers for Hall. He's in front. He has boxed Rutten's ears in. Yeah. And he's a man looking for the white towel.
Yeah, it's the most despondent I've seen Rutten play. He's looking as though he's going to get beat on every contest that's 50-50 with Hall. Hard on that one because he's on the lead, but...
This is a long-range shot for Hall. He does tend to hit these sweetly. From 50, he's dragged it left. He's got 5 goals, 2, and it's the Dogs by 38.
I get the feeling too, guys, that Rutten's performances has a little bit to do with the pressure upfield too.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Do you reckon Barry's going for the 7-point play? He just thinks he'll get it back here, Jerry?
So even this kick in, it's just lost its way and they can turn it over.
Dangerous. It is a turnover. Petrenko couldn't take it. Higgins does. Hand pass to Murphy. Round the body. There's another one. Robert Murphy joins in the party with his first. The Bulldogs 15-11, 101. Adelaide 8-9, 57. You can see it happening.
When your team falls away and you unravel, the things that are glaringly obvious sometimes are set pieces of play where there's just no structure, no confidence in what they're doing, and kick-ins are a terrible way to unravel because it often hurts on the scoreboard. Stoppages are another one. They're not so obvious.
So this looks tactical now, rather than being over-prepared or under-prepared. The way they've played this quarter...
They've just lost any form of confidence or system, and that's not... Coaches are trying to instill it, but if the players are just demoralised, the system falls away.
Their fall from grace is severe. They're going to be 0-5 by the end of the night. And as we've mentioned, it's only the third term. The Dogs really have the Crows in their jaws right now. The kick is high up to the forward line for Adelaide. There's no mark to be had. Burton with a hand pass. Riley's dragged off it. Tackling is Paul Pleasure, trying to trap the ball in the forward line. Tunnelled out of there for the Dogs was pretty clever, but the outlet kick was marked by Thompson, and the siren beats the play. That's three-quarter time at Docklands. The Bulldogs with a 5-goal term, holding the Crows to 1. They turn for home with a 44-point advantage. 15 goals, 11, 101 over Adelaide, 8-9, 57. Goal kickers Barry Hall has 5, 2 each for Hahn and Eagleton, with singles to Grant, Murphy, Higgins, Jan Syracusa, Griffin and Roughhead. For Adelaide, 2 each to Tippett and to Burton, 1 for Vince, Knights, Dangerfield and Paul Pleasure. It's the Bulldogs by 44 points on Grandstand AFL here on ABC Local Radio, News Radio, Digital Radio, and streaming at afl.com.au.
When it comes to love, what do you think? Should you stick with your own tribe?
So are people biologically predisposed to their opposites?
As seen on ABC One, John Safran's Race Relations is now available to take home on DVD.
So could you go out with a black Jew?
Now also available, the banned ABC TV pilot show, John Safran, Media Tycoon, featuring the infamous Ray Martin incident.
Ray, don't not worth it.
Find both programs on DVD at ABC Shops, Centres and ABC Shop Online.
Grandstand AFL.
Kicks inside the 50. Eagleton, so often alone, unattended, runs in, open goal. The Dogs lead by 25. He's the most alone man in football, Nathan Eagleton. He kicks inside the 50. Roughhead with the flight. Davis made the spoil. There was nothing legal about it. He's on the angle. He split the middle, and he loved it. He trots away, punching his fist. He's got a taste of AFL and he likes it.
And a lovely kick inside 50 to Hall, who marks all alone. He plays on, he kicks the goal. He's got 4, but Ryan Griffin take a bow. Chance for Hahn around the body, back to Barry Hall, who takes the marker at the top of the square. Plays on, nonchalantly kicks the goal. His 5th.
Grandstand AFL on ABC Local Radio.
It's the Western Bulldogs by 44. Chris Grant and Peter Schwab.
Well, look, Swabby, the thing that really stands out to me, you brought up a couple of points there just before we had a small break. The thing that really stands out to me is the overuse of handball. The real critical thing that they're doing, they're overusing the handball, and not that they're actually going forward with the ball. They handball it just to someone under enormous pressure.
Yep.
It's 6 or 7 handballs in the space of 15 or 20 minutes without actually producing any forward run.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the 6th or the 7th handball, it's a massive turnover because it's someone really hot on their tail. The thing about playing a side like the Dogs, if you want to play that style of football, you'll get hurt extremely on the other way. And almost every time that's occurred, it's been glaringly obvious that the Dogs have gone forward and kicked the goal.
Just to emphasise your point, Chris, the Crows have had, I've just got to check this again, 121 kicks and 189 handballs.
So, no, well, they're not good enough to do that.
That's just
now,
amazing.
Geelong can sometimes get away with that. We've seen Geelong play games where they've had an enormous amount of the ball, but sides who are willing to handball that often, one, when their confidence is low, two, with their fifth game where they're looking like being under an enormous amount of pressure, away from home, it just puts everyone else under pressure. So it's almost like the player who has the ball has got to take the responsibility of making a good decision, and if they're not willing to make a good decision, halve the contest. Pick it up off the ground, take the tackle, and get another ball up. What they're wanting to do is just continually handball, take the pressure off themselves, but that's not trying to get run.
Put it onto someone else.
Put it onto someone else.
Is it too simplistic to say that these players don't want the responsibility? Here, you take it and you try and take the responsibility.
And Paul's just give me some... You've got John Cock had 17 handballs out of 23 disposals. Thompson's had 19 out of 27. Cloud 14 out of 20. Edwards 15 out of 19. Well, I reckon you make that really valid point, Chris. It's all right having handballs if they're effective, but I just made a point. There's no vision. It's all narrow, in tight stuff that is too often pinging it around, where I think if someone, I know they're under a bit of pressure, but if someone actually looked up, I reckon they'd find some players who are out wide and they're on occasionally. It's just this lack of... I reckon it's 1, 2 or 3. Try and find space. You teach the kids to handball back, even in junior football, to try and find the person who's in space. A little easier at junior footy because it's not the intensity of AFL. But even in AFL, the theory of going back with the handball is to try and find the person in space who then has the vision downfield to deliver it. I don't see that with the Crows. I see the ball just being pinged for the sake of being pinged. I'd be more emphasising, boys, we're going to handball. Let's give it back 20 metres so that at least the person receiving it has got some chance to open their vision and use it.
And we've seen, Swabby, that's a great example of 3 or 4 times throughout the course of the match where they've had the ball almost going inside 50 and they've ended up with the ball back on the wing by going back. And they're not creating anything out of doing that.
The terrible word I wrote here was despondent. They look despondent, and that's a bad sign for a football team.
Well, I'm interested in what Kelly had to say halfway through that quarter, and we'll ask her either during the quarter or towards the end of the match or after the match about the bickering on the bench. That's a bad sign. It's a terrible sign for that to be occurring.
Dogs by 44. Final scores NRL. The Bulldogs 36 beat the Broncos 18. North Queensland lost to Parramatta. The Eels 24-18. The Queensland Reds and the Super 14s have had a win over the Stormers 16-13. The Bulldogs win the opening break of the final term. Jan Siracusa kicks it out in front of Higgins, who's immediately taken in a tackle by Doughty, dragged down and is penalised holding the ball. Doughty up quickly to play on. Hand pass sideways to Edwards. Kicks to the defensive goal square for Rutten. He looks for the way out on the broadcast side. Davis is his man. He marks outside the defensive 50 on the kick. Looks up the line. Sees Riley. Delivers there. Hand pass beyond halfway. This is cleaner stuff, and it finds Cook, who has a bounce. Takes them on a little. Sets the Crows up to full forward. They fly in. Tippets the Crummer. Mishandled the footy. Cross got collared by his own man. He's stuck over the footy. He's caught high by Port Pleasure.
Well, Lake's in trouble for that, isn't he? Well, is Lake in trouble for running into his own man?
No, he tried to jump him, put his knee over his head.
He's no hurdler. He's no Tim Watson.
No, Tim.
That's very strange. Griffin from defensive 50. Another one of those piercing kicks towards Ackermanis, who got Van Berlo under the footy. But Van Berlo first to recover. Hand passed it to Schmidt. He was tackled by Grant. Van Berlo goes in again. The ball's locked up. We'll have a bounce. Kelly Underwood.
Kept an eye, close eye on Neil Craig in that huddle. I think he's taking his frustration out on his chewing gum. Look, he was animated, but he wasn't angry. He didn't look like he raised his voice too much, and he didn't single anyone out. Just referring to the bickering from at that time in the third quarter. Look, I've seen Van Berlo, I've seen Vince come off. They've asked questions of the bench. They're confused. They're talking amongst themselves. They really are in disarray down here.
We've now got a throw in and now a free kick. And it is going the Bulldogs' way. Once again, it's Daniel Cross getting the free kick. He's had plenty of favourable treatment from the umpires today. He goes backwards to Gilby, who squares it up to Lake at centre-half back, and he'll just short pass it back to Gilby. Back right corner of the square. From a standing start, he finds Hudson forward of the wing. Will he hand pass it to Eagleton? No, he's going to kick it long instead. Inside 50, Roughhead with the fly, couldn't take the mark. Front of the pack, Adelaide with the numbers. Still in dispute, those that ricochets around. John Cock, hand pass towards Burton, who wasn't ready for it. John Cock goes back and gets it again and clears the danger area with a short pass to Edwards, who finds Riley.
Riley will play on with a hand pass, gets it out here to Schmidt, over halfway for Goodwin, delivers up to the 50, cut off by Harbrow, who came back bravely. He's got the goods, he delivers it out to Moles at centre half-back. Spreads it across half-back, Lake is on the gallop, hand passes it off to Griffin, kicks in the Eagleton direction, he's got it at the back, Downey overcommitted, Eagleton runs to the 50, sets it up to full forward, Jan Syracuse comes at it, it pitches, he's got to beat Burton, Burton laid a high tackle, it's Gia's free kick in the pocket. Pretty heavy contact from Burton. And Jan Syracuse is going to tie the laces before going back to complete the job.
He lost his boot, Jared. I thought he was going to go the bicycle kick there for a minute, the way the ball just sat.
I tell you, when you called, Hudson had the option to give it to Eagleton, who was on his own running to the 50. He was filthy, so what he did, he just stayed where he was until the play came back and he was still on his own when it returned. So Jan Syracuse is now ready to go back and take his shot at goal. He's on the seriously acute angle here, but he's going to take 2 steps into the field of play and hook it into the near post. Shakes it to and fro. And the Dogs lead by 45, the first score of the final term coming after 4 minutes.
And Vince kicks it in quickly to Edwards at defensive 50 out on the City side. Draws a player, hand passes to Rutten. I reckon they're trying to move it quicker, the Crows, and it's working for them at the moment. Rutten gets it back. He kicks it long inside 50. Knights couldn't take the mark as he edged his opponent under the footy. Ball in dispute in the corridor, 30 out from the Crows' goal. Players from both sides charge in. Porplesia a little bit overzealous. He's given away a free kick and the Dogs can clear again. Higgins a short pass to Griffin, very close to best on ground. Griffin hand pass to Lake, long kick towards Roughhead out on a searching lead, couldn't get there on the bounce. He's there with another youngster, Davis, who just paddled it cleverly to Vince to Douglas. Griffin again provides a contest, a little spoil. Murphy front and centre, kicks to the middle, dangerous kick. Edwards tries to cut it off, but Jan Syracuse was equal to the task. Hand pass to Everett, now to Moles, front corner of the square. Moles inside 50, poor kick, and the mark is taken by Schmidt, and the Crows can get out of trouble again.
Schmidt has a look beyond the defensive 50. Burton's his best target around the City wing. He takes the mark, brings it more centrally now for Riley, running the wing. Inside the 50, Tippett is well clear of Lake on the lead.
Better ball movement this quarter by Adelaide. Bit more kicking, bit more looking to switch into the corridor, take some run.
Kurt Tippett stamps down the turf 54 metres from goal.
Well, he's had a very quiet night apart from that first quarter.
Kicked a couple in the first term, looked threatening. Hasn't been in the game much since. Tippett from the delivery point of 54. He's not going to make the distance. The Dogs have got everybody back, and Hudson takes it on the last line.
Hand passes to Gilby. Now to Griffin, over the top to Harbrow, who's running from defensive 50. Long kick to the wing, poor kick. And it's cut off by Schmidt, and the Crows can go forward again. A long kick back towards Tippett. One-on-one with Griffin, and Tippett takes another mark. He's deep in the pocket. Griffin was right on his hammer on that occasion. Tippett took a strong mark. This time he's about 40 out, but he's out on the boundaries. He marks his spot again.
Difficult shot from here.
He does seem to be growing in confidence, at least from last week, but hasn't had a lot of opportunities. 5 marks, 4 kicks on the night, 2 goals coming early. close to the boundary in the right forward pocket. He stabs at this one and he misses to the near side, through for a minus score. Tippett 2 goals 1. The Bulldogs 15-12, 102. Adelaide 8-10, 58.
Kick in for the Dogs. They go the left back pocket. Cooney takes the mark. He's going to take off across the face of goal and kick it for Higgins. He'll mark and see Lake deliver the short pass in that direction. Crows have got the wing pretty well covered, so Lake squares the footy for Cooney. He might be forced back across the face of goal. He will. Lobs it to the defensive square for Gilby. He's had his moments kicking tonight. This one is a sweet kick, well outside the 50. Lake gets good protection from Higgins and takes the mark. Higgins and Cooney both trot past Lake. Still open for the short ball if Lake is prepared to give it. He's going to kick it to Hahn. It wasn't a great option. Marriage made the spoil, but Higgins got there. He was in the drop zone and he kicks it up to Murphy. Hand pass to Johnson. Breaks through the 50. Has a bounce. Squares it for Hall. That play was never on. And Davis takes the intercepting mark.
It was almost Harlem Globetrotter stuff for that to come off. Out of defence, Edwards finds Thompson. Lazy kick towards half-forward. Petrenko caught out of position. Harbrow did well, spoilt it. Comes to Ackermanis. Hand passes towards Jen Siracusa, who kicks into the middle and Higgins marks. Higgins a long kick towards the broadcast wing. Cooney takes the mark. Did well. Got away from Dangerfield. Ran his full measure. Kicks into the pocket. Johnson on a lead. Good spoil late from Dowdy for the Crows. Ball in dispute. 50 out from the Bulldogs' goal. Dowdy works hard at ground level. Moles though for the Doggies. Can he pick up the ball? Yes, he can. Shovels it towards the goal square. Chance for a goal. Jared Grant. What a clever goal. I had to have another look at it. I thought it was Robert Murphy. That's the sort of thing Murphy does. But Jared Grant picked up the ball and as quick as a flash got boot to it from the square and kicked his second. The Bulldogs 16-12, 108. Adelaide 8-10, 58.
Just need another look at it, don't you? Because it was smart by Miles. He kept the ball alive with a handball and very, very quick hand to boot by Grant.
He was really good below his knees.
Oh, it was good, wasn't it?
He's been really showing great signs below his knees. So
was it just me, or did you think it was Murphy for a second?
Oh, I was sure it was
Murphy. He did it.
You taking credit for him, Chris?
For his groundwork, I wish I could.
It's one of your boys.
He is, yeah. He's coming along really well.
You tell us more about him in the post-match. It's the Dogs by 50 here. First goal of the final term their way. Cooney's able to get the kick away from the middle. Comes the way of Higgins. McLeod's right on his hammer. And the wily old Fox works Higgins away from it. McLeod up beyond halfway. Burton takes the juggling mark and is paid on the boundary. The way forward though, sideways to Vince. He's on the logo. He'll switch across the square for Goodwin. He can open up, way up the options inside the 50, blast it as far as he can. Tippett, good length. Really good stuff from Kurt Tippett. He's trying to drag himself back into the contest in this final term.
Well, at least that's right. It's a good way of putting it. He would have. I know Kelly said no one's. Neil Craig did not speak directly to players, but someone might have had a word to him.
So he's on a tough angle here, but it's his third shot at goal for the term. One short, one behind, looking for a goal. He kicks truly. Tippett with his third as he tries to improve his fortunes. And the margin is back to 44. 9-10-64 Adelaide. The Bulldogs 16-12, 108, 11 minutes gone of the final term on Grandstand AFL.
Well, he's got 3, hasn't he? You look at that and you say that's not a bad return from a forward, but it's come in with nothing in between. You had a first quarter that was very good. We've had a last quarter that showed some good signs and was absolutely unsighted probably for the second and third quarter.
And the only time he's looked dangerous is when Adelaide
got in there.
That's right. When Adelaide have moved the ball quickly, he's looked really dangerous.
I suppose that's fair, Chris. I mean, you can often say the forward isn't getting much, but the delivery's been pretty shabby apart from periods in this last quarter to him and in the first quarter.
We're back in the middle. And it's Marriage that wins the tap. It is a free kick, and it's going back to the middle. And it's a Bulldogs ball. And Ryan Griffin will be the man to take it. It was caught high.
It's been very good, hasn't he, Griffin?
Really good. Another one of these low-raking kicks out in space. Murphy will bounce onto it. On the bounce. 70 metres out from goal. Centering ball to the 50. One for the high. Floors! And it's Jordan Ruffhead who takes the mark. He hand passes to Griffin. Finish off the game, Ryan. He does just that.
Party time.
The 4 points to the Bulldogs and the 3 votes to Ryan Griffin. I think we can call it now.
Well, hang on.
It's a big game.
Hang on.
Swabby's doing the votes.
No.
29 possessions and 2 goals, and he hasn't wasted one of them. The Bulldogs 17-12, 114. Adelaide 9-10, 64. 13 minutes gone, final.
Well, there have been experts who've been prepared to just dismiss blokes on the strength of that sort of thing. Mark McClure.
I want to mention, I think at the end we'll probably talk about the beauty from a Footscray Bulldog supporter coming here tonight is to see Jared Grant and Jordan Ruffhead. Jordan Ruffhead. What two exciting players in the making for the Bulldogs. Very exciting.
Dogs by 50. Low bounce in the middle. In an odd moment, one ruckman actually knocked it to the other. Marriage was able to get the kick inside the 50. Morris is going to track it to the defensive goal square. He's under siege. Dangerfield lays the tackle. The ball spills out and is rushed behind. Dogs by 49.
Short kick back in. Daniel Cross takes the mark. Short pass over the top to Everett, who is just outside defensive 50. He's going to go back inside the defensive 50 to Lake. He'll go short to Harbrow, who takes the mark at defensive 50.
Been very busy in the second half, Harbrow.
Yeah. He's doing very nicely, Harbrow. As he kicks back to the wing. Gee, another big fly from Ruffhead. Front and centre, it was Cross, who sweeps the hand pass out into the path of Hall. Breaks the McLeod tackle. Hand pass to Ackermanis. Now to Grant. Here is Eagleton on his own, and he kicks another goal. They don't want to go near him. He's got 3.
He stinks.
18-12,
He's on the nose.
120. Adelaide 9-11, 65, 14 and a half gone, final term. It was called. It was behind me. Who called it?
Jared, what do you call him?
The most alone man in football.
The most alone man in football.
Football solitary man.
He knows.
So he's not lonely. He's alone.
He knows when to go forward.
He's just hit the lead in the Dream Team points too, by the way.
Really?
114 to 113 to Gia.
And how many for Griffin?
Griffin 111. Yes, very close.
Well, the Dogs by 55. It is the biggest lead of the night.
Well, they could really smash them now.
They've got these 3 Friday night fixtures, the Bulldogs. The next is against St Kilda. Moles wins the ball out of the middle to Harbrow. Hand pass to Hahn, and Harbrow gets it back. He kicks it round the body forward of halfway. It pitches to the advantage of Jan Siracusa. He should have gone forward. He actually went backwards to Ackermanis. He'd like that over again, I reckon. To Hahn, who's going to give some more ground to Harbrow on the follow-up. Hand pass to Cooney, trying to break clear. He's given it up. Straight to Dangerfield. And he's on a marauding run. Hand passes to Knights. Runs it up to halfway. Gives it off to Douglas. Sets it inside the 50. And the mark is taken by Brent Riley.
Well, tell you what, he'd want to kick it. He had Van Berlo on there.
He is a prodigious kick of the ball. It's going to take plenty to get it there. Brent Riley through centre half ball. He launches the drop punt at goal. Just didn't get enough on it. It's right to the square, but not beyond the pack. They flew, no mark. Petrenko got caught in the pocket. I reckon under sudden death he's gone. He was prepared to trap it there, but not prepared to get it out.
He's had a quiet night.
There's the Bulldog player down, 2 in the square in that marking
Jordan
contest.
Ruffhead, I think.
She's short to Ackermanis at defensive 50. Yeah, I think you're right, but he seems to be walking away now okay. He might come to the bench, but he's doing it unassisted. Ackermanis kicks towards the wing. Brian Lake up. Spoil came from Rutten, front of the pack. Adelaide with the numbers. Paplesia hand pass to Edwards. Now to Rutten. Over the top to Cook. He's in trouble. Hand passes back to Edwards. Now to Rutten, dropping the ball. Umpire says no, play on. Ackermanis though paddles it to Johnson. Now out towards Hahn. Hand pass to Higgins. They've got the loose man over the top. It's Barry Hall. Couldn't quite pick it up though, Higgins. Ball jars free. Still a doggy's ball. Back to Hall. He's tackled. Ball loose. Knights picks it up for the Crows. Hand passes to McLeod. He's defensive 50. Right half back. Nice kick into the middle. Mark taken by Doughty. Hand passes to Vince. Over the top by hand. They've mucked it up again here. It's the Bulldogs ball now through Kearney. Turnover. He kicks it out wide towards Jan Siracusa. Takes it on the half volley. Kick out in front of Murphy. 2 kicks out from goal, right half forward. Onto his left. Centering ball was delightful. And the mark's been taken by Addison just outside 50. He can't score from here, so he hand passes to Murphy. He'll centre it. Barry Hall's at the target. Couldn't quite take it. Got 2 hands to it. Charging onto the ball was Burton. Hand pass releases McLeod. The Crows are out of trouble on the City side.
Kicks it as far as he can and finds Henderson, the debutant, who has a bounce around the City wing. Now he chips it over the top. He wants Riley. Lake is coming the other way. Lake beats him to the ball and he pushes off Riley. The ball is out of bounds in his hands in the process. Crowd posted at 26,884 as we tick toward time onto the final turn. The Dogs are well home. The ball's at half forward for the Crows, probably a little too close to each other. Vince with a hand pass to Thompson, to Cook, to Edwards. Kicks inside the 50. Burton's the leaper one way, Williams the other. And it's the Dog who takes them up.
Been solid, Williams.
No, he's been good. He's been good. He's only been outmarked once, which is that last one with Tippett. So
he's seen the way out. It's Jared Grant who takes it on the first bounce, steadies himself, kicks for Hall, takes the mark inside the centre square. He'll look inside the 50, goes short for the lead of Johnson. He didn't quite complete the mark before the spoil was made. Jan Siracusa hand passes to Roughhead, fires at goal and misses to the left-hand side. 56 the Dogs lead, 19 and a half gone of the final turn.
Goodwin kicks back into play to Dangerfield, who takes the mark at defensive 50. Hand passes to Thompson, straight down the corridor. Thompson's pass finds Knights onto his left foot, out in the path of Henderson, who takes it at the 50, going back with the flight. His body language suggests he can't make the distance, so he goes short and kicks it straight to a Bulldogs player. And Addison takes the defensive mark. Kicking back towards the wing. Murphy in front. Doughty with the spoil. Will he find the boundary? He will. Ackermanis collects, but he is actually one of 4 interchange players, so he's not going to get a possession. We'll have a throw-in. Barry Hall sits down and takes another break. He might be done for the night. Throw in. Tippett tries to grab it out of the ruck. In fact, no. He tapped it down nicely to Vince, who finds the boundary with a 20-metre bouncing ball just forward of the wing now for the Crows. We've played 20 minutes, so we entered time on in the last quarter. The Western Bulldogs 18-13, 121. Adelaide 9-11, 65.
Have a look at your SMSs after the match. 1992122. 1992122 for a verdict on the SMS. The Dogs are going to beat the Crows. It's a fair old scrap from the boundary throw in. Knights to Pleasure was the key possession. Kicks to Cook, breaks through the 50, steadies himself for the shot and misses out. He kicks it right. Margin is 55. 18-13, 121 to 9-12-66.
26,884 people are watching the game tonight here at Docklands. The long kick back into play, favours Lake, bounces off his chest, couldn't take the mark. Addison though in support, hand pass to Cross, now to Griffin, another raking right foot ball up towards half forward. Murphy in front, grabbed it well. It was a tough ball, but he did well on the left foot. Bouncing footy into Moles, who hand passes to Addison. Back to Murphy, centre wing. Spearing ball in towards Roughhead. Couldn't mark it low down. Dowdy cleans up for the Crows. Hand pass not great. Schmidt is tackled well by Roughhead. He creates a bounce 60 metres out from the Doggies' goal. Question now is whether Adelaide can get their highest score of the year, which is 75. Cross wins the tap down to Ackermanis. Now to Griffin by hand to Moles, close to the boundary. 60 out. Now that goes to the top of the square. Adelaide 2-on-1. It favoured Burton, and he took the defensive mark for the Crows.
Thought about slipping the hand pass away. Instead, he goes the kick, and he did it pretty well. Drifting back is Schmidt. Hand passed it on to John Cock, and now to Thompson, who has a bounce around the city wing. He's got two runners going with him. He places the ball to the advantage of Riley. Kicks it for Paul Pleasure on the lead, and he hugs the chest mark. So they move the ball unimpeded for one of the rare times tonight, directly up the field, and it will result in a shot at goal. Jason Paul Pleasure. He has 1-1 for the Knights. Hunched down over it. Hasn't been a tremendous influence for Adelaide. It's a tight angle, 8 metres in from the right boundary. He sets it on a path to goal. It's a fine kick. That's a bit more like the Paul Pleasure we have come to admire. He threads it from the angle. The margin is 49 points. The Bulldogs 18-13, 121 to Adelaide 10-12, 72. 23 gone of the last.
Yeah, it was a nice finish. He's reasonably quiet, although kicked a couple of goals. Again, another forward who they need. You look at them, there is an essence of a forward line up there that's going to be okay, but I think their biggest problem is in the midfield. There's just not enough spark in there at the moment, and probably not enough depth and the way they play.
Not enough leg speed either, I'd suggest.
Marich and Hudson to compete again in the middle. Hudson just grabs it out of the ruck, hands it over to Moles, who kicks long inside 50. Oh, nearly a mark to Cooney. Good spoil in the end by John Cock. He goes after his own crumbs, overruns the footy. In support there is Davis, paddles it towards the line and finds it. 50 out from the Bulldogs' goal. Adam Cooney finishing the game at full forward for the Dogs.
Barry Hall's having a rest, and so is Jono.
Yep, Higgins and Murphy also there. So some of the stars on ice for next week. Friday night footy against St Kilda will be one of the real games to look forward to in round 6. Rutten out of defence, hand pass to Edwards. Back into the corridor to Vince. Vincel going towards the middle with a flat kick, partially smothered ball. Marich was quite clever then he's fallen over. Dowdy has the ball for the Crows. Hand passes over the top towards McLeod. Inside 50, tip it. Oh, it bounced off his chest like a super ball. It went about 30 metres the Bulldogs' way, and the Doggies end up with the footy. Gene Siracusa hand passes to Ackermanis. Not long left as Acker kicks up towards Cooney.
Heel mark. There's time enough for a goal. Eagleton is on the lead. Cooney goes a little longer. He picks out Roughhead. It was just a little too high for him, and the Crows are able to work it away. Paul Pleasure with a hand pass up to Van Berlo inside the 50. Addison led the running for the Bulldogs, and he is able to bring the ball away to Jan Siracusa. Out and out late at the defensive 50. Williams, who's been in the hands of the trainers for 30 seconds or so. Lake kicks it around to Gilby. And I'm pretty sure the Dogs are happy that their night is done. One more kick back to Lake. And Gilby, they wax it around with kicks as time is set to expire. Solid win for the Bulldogs. 49-point victors on Friday night footy. And it does seem that nothing good will come from season 2010 for the Crows. They slumped to 0-5, and they're out of business. It's the Dogs 18-13, 121 over Adelaide 10-12, 72. At quarter time, it was the Crows by a point. and then they got steadily worked over. The Dogs by 18 at the half, by 44 at the final change, and by 49 at the close. 5 for Barry Hall, 3 for Eagleton, 2 each for Grant, Hahn and Griffin, with singles for Murphy, Higgins, Chown Syracusa and Roughhead. For Adelaide, 3 to Tippett, 2 to Port Pleasure and Burton, and 1 each for Vince, Knights and Dangerfield. It's the Dogs by 49. Sons of the West, red, white and blue. We come out strong, Bulldogs through and through. Bulldogs fight and Bulldogs roar. We give our very best. 'Cause you can't beat the boys of the Bulldog breed. We're the team of the mighty West. 'Cause you can't beat the boys of the Bulldog breed. The team of the mighty West. So the Bulldogs show some of what they've got as they look to really get their campaign rolling, and the Crows are left to trudge from the field, and we're left to ponder where has it all gone. The Dogs by 49 over the Crows. Your thoughts in our post-match, the SMS 199 21 222. Also the lines will be open 1300 222 774. As the players head off and Kelly heads to the Bulldogs rooms, Peter Schwab and Chris Grant.
Well, I think the major problem I see for Adelaide, if they're not going to kick scores, and sometimes you can say, well, that's a forward line that's not functioning, that they've got no avenues to goal. They've kicked, 9-8, 11-9, 5-11, 6-19, 10-12. Low scores, but it's not just the personnel up forward, it's the midfield. And even the back line, there's not much spring out of their defence. There was early, Chris. I thought maybe the first quarter where, McLeod was coming through and Goodwin, some of the old brigade, they had a little bit of zip off, or a little bit of run at least off their back half, but it wasn't there throughout the game, and they've just got some real problems in the structure of their play at the moment. That handball thing we spoke about at length at three-quarter time. I thought in the last quarter, to be fair, there was a change in mindset, so there was this desire to maybe... And look, this can happen because the game opens up a bit in the last quarter and there's a bit more space. There was a desire there to look to kick the ball a bit more and try and find the blokes with a square kick. There was good, reasonable overlap, and we got some inside 50 delivery that was pretty good. But overall, it's a disappointing Adelaide Crows unit at the moment. And the most frustrating thing, I think, from a Adelaide supporter's view, is there doesn't look to be any spark within the whole team. Whereas you look at the Bulldogs, there's this real good feeling about the Bulldogs. There's a bit of excitement in the year, and they know they've got a pretty good team, or a very good team. And Barry Hall, 33, the older player, he's up and going. Jono came back tonight full of energy. It's just you sense it's a good footy club at the moment with some real prospects and great young talent.
Hold that thought, because we'll go and join this good footy club with Kelly Underwood.
And Jared, well done to Jordan Roughhead. He started in the middle of that circle. He went bright red and moved his way out, of course, playing his first game and enjoying his first win. They look like they're going to go straight into rehab, so I'll get back to you when we've got an interview.
Terrific, Kel. The Dogs by 49.
Yeah, look, Roughhead, you mentioned, he didn't have a lot of the ball, but what he did, it's exciting because he's a big man, and all of a sudden you've got another option you can throw it forward. And then at the other end of the scale, you've got Barry Hall, who really gave Rutten a nice old touch-up, if you like, in that vernacular, in the sense that it's the most despondent and poorest one-on-one play I've seen from Rutten. Not a man to get beat that way, the way in which he was beat today. Griffin, we spoke about, was outstanding with his disposal. I thought June Syracuse was the architect in the first half. You know, when the game's there to be won and someone's got to take the game up, I thought he was the most influential player. But I could wax lyrically about the Bulldogs and say tonight I'm convinced they're a top 4 side, and the real test for them will come next Saturday. But the Saints have been up and going, and they'll have a hard trip over it. I think they've got to go to Adelaide, don't they?
They do.
They should be Port, but still they've got to travel. So I think we'll all expect that'll be a great test for probably the Bulldogs and St Kilda, but certainly the Bulldogs, and I think they're up to it. Their personnel is very good at the moment, and got a Bulldog sitting next to me, so he must be very happy. And if you're an Adelaide person and you're listening to us, I'm sorry, I'm struggling to find a lot of positives about the Adelaide Footy Club at the moment.
Rob has managed to find the positive. He's in Anglesea at 0-5. The positive for the Crows is that no one suspects they're rorting their salary cap. Chris, give us your verdict.
Well, that's a certainty, I would have thought. Look, I think, Shobby, you've hit the nail on the head as far as Adelaide is concerned. On the Doggies side, they really needed to come out and show to themselves that their style of play is something that they're good at, and when they play it well, they'll beat most teams in the competition. I think the question's still going to be asked, and that big question's going to be around the corner for them next week. St Kilda here next Friday night. That's a really, really good test for them. But they needed to come away from a loss like at Brisbane, where Brisbane had the ball inside 50 almost 70 times. They thrashed them around the stoppages and with the loose balls and contested balls in the second half of last week. They had 36 scoring shots, Brisbane, last week. So they really needed to show to themselves that they've still got parts of their game that they're really good at. Still thought at times they were able to get the ball over the back, Adelaide still. And I know sometimes that's going to happen. The style of play that teams play these days means that all the lines push up and you might get caught out at times. But I just felt a couple of those times Adelaide still weren't moving the ball that fast, yet that still occurred. So that's an area for the Bulldogs to work on a game. You know, they have 31 scoring shots tonight. Yeah. That's a pretty good result. Their big power forwards kicked 5. As you said, Jono's come into the side and performed pretty well after 3 weeks out. I take my hat off to Gio. I have a feeling he's pretty sore boy at the moment. I saw him get a knock there in the just before halftime, and no doubt he copped another one really early in that third quarter. But he was out there again.
A great stat for him here is 12 contested possessions, which look, a lot of people might look at him and say, "Oh, is he an outside?" You know, there's a thinking that he has been maybe a bit of an outside player. He's clearly not.
No, we've never thought that. And I know the coaching staff have never thought that. Yeah. I think Ryan Griffin's game was, the second half was outstanding. It was a terrific game. Jared brought up one question when he was commentating and said, what is the way forward for Adelaide here? And it just looked like they lost their way, particularly in that third quarter. They really lost their way, being able to get the ball to go forward. Tippett looked dangerous. I felt Tippett only looked dangerous in the course of the night when they actually moved the ball relatively fast, and they haven't got fast players. I mean, even McLeod and the Goodwins and the Edwards, they're well into their 30s. They're not going to be fast now, but they need to be able to move the ball fast with either hands or feet or skill. And the only times they did that, they looked dangerous, but there were many, many times where they moved the ball slowly. There were times where they'd take a mark unopposed and stop.
Yeah.
And they were the times that stood out, didn't they? They looked like they were a team that either are under pressure or that's their game plan. And I do question whether the game plan, well, they probably themselves don't question anymore. Their game plan for the last 3 or 4 years, I think it's gone. I think teams have gone past that, been able to stop the play and only stop the play and control the footy. They're just not very good at that anymore, and no team in the competition that's playing that style of football is doing very well. St Kilda do it defensively well, but they're equally good offensively. Adelaide old game plan, and I wonder what their second game plan is, whether they have one. And clearly in the first 5 games of this year, you'd suggest they don't.
Are they missing much? Is there anyone out of that side? I'm just trying to...
Oh, there are a couple, but there's not enough to...
There's not enough to inject.
Questions are around.
Nathan Bock
would be handy, yeah.
But my question is that there would be a lot of Adelaide fans that would be asking this question. We played such exciting footy last year after a really tough start again, not dissimilar to here, but from round 9 they won 12 of 15. Look, the flag favourites at halftime in the game against Collingwood, they were playing unbelievable football. How can it change? I mean, is it that the game plan's changed? Is it they've lost their confidence, or have other teams worked out how to play Adelaide?
Well, just going on tonight, I would have thought there's some good talent in there, but I'm a bit stuck in the whole midfield thing. I just don't think there's enough speed in there, and I don't think there's enough quickness about it.
But it's the same players that were there last year.
So what's wrong with them?
We will come back to that. Would you believe that the solitary man of football has finally found some company? Kelly Underwood has caught up with Nathan Eagleton. Kel.
He just said to me, I'm the closest someone's been to him all night. No, I'm only joking, Nathan. The first question I have to ask you, were you wearing deodorant tonight?
Yeah, plenty on, but obviously it didn't come near me, so got out a bit, and with that zone sort of defence that they play, that you can get out the back, and if you run hard and create it, the opportunity comes there.
How much were you aware during the week, and did you speak about it at all, the fact that obviously the Crows were really under the pump, still yet to get a win, and that you knew that they would really come out desperate and hard?
Yeah, they're a great team, and they play great footy. They were pretty ordinary against Carlton. They only missed shots early that probably got them out of the game, so we knew they were going to come. They did in the first quarter. They really put it to us, and we were happy to grind out the win and really got on top in that second half, which was great to see.
Well, I'll throw you upstairs to the guys, one of your great mates, Chris Grant, ready to fire a few curly ones your way.
Well, I might jump in, Kel. Nathan Eagle and Peter Schwab here. Well done. You made a good point there. Do you think in the modern game, and with particularly some of these defensive zones, that there is that space every now and then just to get through and round the back, because they're actually not looking to go to a player but to mind the space? Is that something that you've seen creeping in a bit?
Yeah, for sure. If you can get on the front foot and see the boys that have won the footy and back them into hold on to the footy and don't turn it over, then you can get out the back and run onto a few. We got a lot of goals tonight from guys that were 10-15 metres out in the clear in the forward 50, so we've just got to try and keep that up when we play against them kind of teams.
I know this is a hard question, and you might want to answer this. Just with Adelaide at the moment, and I always ask about the opposition, do you sense there's a little bit of despondency because of where they are at the moment, and that's infiltrating the way they go about it?
No, they come out really hard in that first quarter and really put it to us, which we knew they were going to, and we missed a few shots early, so we probably gave them a little bit of confidence in that first quarter being even. But if we go in at half-time against sides, we know that we can come up over the top. So, no, I think they were probably a little bit despondent at probably half-time, and really that third quarter it really opened up, and our fitness really showed towards the end there.
Eggs, Grandy here, mate. You look like you're running across the ground very, very well tonight. Your season's been interrupted just with a little bit of a hammy, but it doesn't seem to have affected you too much.
No, obviously I had a scope on my knee, probably missed a month in Feb, and then I did a hammy in the NAB Cup final, which was a bit disappointing, but just a bit of a late start for me, which is it's a long season, so just to get out there, run some Ks and do what you can for the side is what I'm up to.
And next week, I mean, obviously Adelaide this week, and you've got over them, and big game next week. That must be a great opportunity for you to see where your form is really at.
Yeah, that's it, Granny. The top side, St Kilda, obviously haven't lost it and got the game this weekend, but they're going to be playing the same kind of pressure and zoning defence and rolling defence like Adelaide do, and they've probably got it switched on the best of anyone in the comp at the moment, so it's going to be a hard got to put plenty of pressure on, tackle pressure, and keep that up. I think we've got plenty of tackles tonight, which is great to see, which has been dropping the first 4 weeks.
Nathan, Adam White upstairs. I'm just interested in the build-up to this one, because it was a really uncharacteristic performance against Brisbane where not much went right at all. Did you have a lighter week on the track, or did you have a harder week on the track? What was the build-up for this one?
It was pretty low-key, and just we got rid of Brisbane pretty early, knocked on the head Monday morning so we could get ready, because it was a Friday night, quick turnaround, so we all got the opportunity to get back on the horse and play another game of footy, and so we knocked that out of the way, and then just really because it was a 6-day break, we had to freshen up, and it really paid dividends tonight.
Nathan, we're going to have to leave it there because you've been called into the team meeting. Well done tonight. Go and enjoy it with the boys.
No worries. Thanks very much. Thanks, guys.
Well done, Eagles.
Nathan Eagleton with Kelly Underwood.